Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Yo, welcome to the show, everybody. Another episode of the Müvment Boxing Podcast. Featuring me, Twan Divine Liberty. As usual, I got my panelists and co-hosts with me. We got 2K the God from the Guys of Boxing Talk. What up?
Good.
All right, we got Bo and Bernard from the Truth and Facts About Boxing. What's going on with y'all fellas?
Windmill.
What's going on, man?
All right, and we got Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk on as usual. What's going on with you, man?
Hey, it's all good, man. Happy to be on for another show.
All right, for sure. So we're going to dive into another week of boxing topics. You know what I'm saying? You know how we get down. You know, we start off with our reviews. We had quite a few fights this weekend, so we're going to get it going right now. Starting with the females, man. Nuno, you know what I'm saying? Cecilia Braekhus took on Klara Svensson over the weekend. Actually, it was on Friday, I believe, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, she defended her title, all of her titles, and this decision victory. 2K, let's get your analysis on the fight, man, on how you saw everything play out.
Yeah, big ups to Cecilia Braekhus, man, retaining her undisputed status, the only undisputed champion in all of boxing after Friday's win over Klara Svensson. It was pretty one-sided. I think one judge had her winning every single round. I had her losing maybe one or two rounds, I believe. But I'm going to go at something you said, Twan, a couple of days ago. You had mentioned that, I think it was yesterday actually, you mentioned that this was probably her best performance. I'm going to disagree with that because I think her performance against Sophie Mathis, the rematch, that was probably the best performance. The things that she did in that ring to get her out of there in 2 rounds, you know, when in the past they went to the whole 10 rounds and it was a unanimous decision win for her back then. I think that was more impressive. Plus in this fight, Klara Svensson is very wild. She didn't really have a strategy. It looked like she didn't have a strategy in there. It looked like she was kind of winging it. She may have had a strategy, but I don't think she executed it very well, unless it was to be wild and just to come at Cecilia Braekhus, who's definitely the more polished technical fighter than the two. But I think a lot of the success that we've seen Cecilia have in that fight was due to Klara Svensson's stamina problem, man. She got tired at round 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the fight. I'm like, damn, dog, the 3rd round just ended, and you already huffing and puffing this shit in the corner. Also, I think in round 2, Cecilia Braekhus took shots that she didn't have to take. Now, granted, she was trying to get used to her opponent. She was measuring her a little bit. But she took some shots she didn't have to take in that round. That was a round I actually gave to Svensson. So I think after round 3 or 4, might have been 4, that's when Cecilia actually stopped. She would stalk her, and when she would stalk her, she would bait her with the jab. And Svensson would try to come back with something behind her or on the top of her jab, and then Cecilia would back up, take a step back, and then counter her. That's what I was waiting on her to do from round 1. She didn't actually get it in or at least start being really successful with it until about round 4. So, but from that point on, it was pretty much a shutout. Not her best performance in my opinion, but she did what she had to do with the female of Svensson's caliber. There's clearly levels to this shit, and Svensson is nowhere near on her level. Actually, I'm looking at Svensson's record, you know, and I'm like, how the hell did she beat 17 people? Looking at how amateurish she looked in that fight against Cecilia Braekhus. So, but it was a good win. Of course, like I said, she retains her undisputed status, man. I don't know who the fuck's going to beat her. 35 years old. She's supposed to be slowing down, and I don't see that just yet. I don't know who can beat her at welterweight, man.
Yeah, she ready to have my baby, basically. That's what she said. Bo, let's pass it on to you, man. Your thoughts about the fight and where she goes from here, man.
Well, it's definitely not to have your goddamn baby, but, you know, stranger shit has happened in life. what 2K said, I can tell you how she beat 17 opponents. 2K, not one of them 17 opponents was named Cecilia Braekhus.
Yeah,
that's how she beat 17 opponents. She had never faced anybody of that level or caliber. I mean, there really isn't much that you have to put on. There really isn't much that you can even put on what you said. She was just like you said. There was times when I thought that Cecilia. It just seemed like that she wanted to engage and get at the girl because she was hitting her with some good right hands, some good hooks, and she wanted to get at her. But like you said, the girl was wild. Like I was watching the fight, and I had stepped away and came back, and like you, I'm thinking, oh damn, I'm asking myself, I was like, damn, how long did I step away from watching the fight? Because this chick looked like she was tired, and it was the 10th round. And when I heard the announcer say we're in the middle of the 4th round, I said, what the fuck? I can't believe it. Because she looked that tired, which led to her getting wild, which is why, because if you watch the fight for like the first maybe 2 rounds, Cecilia looked as sharp. I thought she was going to get the knockout. So once the girl got wild, Cecilia, being smart, being a veteran, didn't want to over-push it to get caught with something. So, but, I mean, you can't really add much on what you said, man. It's just another dominant performance. I probably, like we say, she's exceptionally dominant. I don't see nobody beating her. And it's just a shame that here's somebody who is fighting all of the best people. Like, this motherfucker's coming up for her, and she's embarrassed, and she's making everybody look amateurish. 35 years old. They was talking about she was having weight problems and all of that. I don't see no rust on her at all, period. So, but, if
she has weight, if she has weight problems, man, that would be excellent, dog, because that means that she possibly might have to move up into Clarissa Shields' division if she's having weight problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was rumors that maybe them saying that she injured herself may have been to buy her time to make weight. And I'm not going to lie, she looked a little bit, just a tad bit bigger than what I normally, because I'm interested in seeing what she rehydrated to. I'd be interested in seeing that. But, I like to seeing that meat on them bones. I ain't going to even lie to you. But good fight, though, man. Good fight. I hope Showtime looks at this and looks at that performance and, man, this is what we need to be showing, because I really think people really need to see this. That kind of performance is sad, but that kind of performance, as excellent as it is, it won't be appreciated by casuals because there was no knockout.
Yeah, I actually tweeted that to Steven Espinoza last night, man, that he needs to work on getting Cecilia on Showtime, you know what I'm saying, if he really going to make a push at women's boxing the way we think he is. So that was my suggestion to him. As far as 2K, I think, to me, I was really impressed with it because she started off fast. That was probably why I was most impressed. Like, she normally fills out a little bit longer, but she was kind of aggressive from round 1, which I thought was, kind of different for me, seeing her. Like, she came out even, throwing that right, and she was just really aggressive from the jump street, from the beginning of the fight. So that's why I was pretty impressed with it. And, like, she was picking her shots, you know what I'm saying, like you said, because the Svensson was so sloppy, but she was picking her shots. You could see her looking at her shots as opposed to Svensson, who's, her head's down, not knowing what she's throwing at. So, that was my biggest thing. That's why I was kind of impressed with it, because she was looking at all of her shots. You know what I'm saying? So much to where she could throw her uppercut from like 5 feet away kind of stuff, So, that I was just impressed with how she was picking her shots, and she didn't waste any time getting started in this one. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and go to our next topic. We had a IBF title. Well, no, what is it? The WBC Super Middleweight?
Yes,
or
sir.
light heavyweight? Okay, light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight.
Okay, yeah, WBC light heavyweight title eliminator. Somehow Lucian Bute got another chance at a title. Facing Eleider Alvarez. It ended in, I believe, a 5th round knockout for Alvarez. I'll go ahead and start off with Big Cool. Did you see this one?
No, I didn't get a chance to see the fight. I was looking for it. Couldn't really find a good link to it, so no, I didn't get a chance to see it.
All right, Bernard, did you check this one out?
Nope.
All right, y'all killing me.
No, I was supposed to watch it. No, I was.
No, don't even say that, man.
For the title that he doesn't even deserve. Fuck that fight.
Oh, man.
He said it was for the IBO title, so it didn't even.
If it wasn't, if it wasn't, give him an IBO title shot, dog. That's what I'm talking about.
One of them,
give him the dark green belt. Shout out to the IBO, baby.
Man, 2K, I'll pass it over to you, man.
Oh, my goodness.
What did you see in this fight? It was actually a pretty interesting fight, I guess, for as long as it lasted. But let me get your thoughts on it, man.
Well, I'm going to keep it real short because Eleider Alvarez looks pretty much the same as any other fight I've seen him in. Actually, recently, earlier in his career, he was looking extremely well to the point where it was like, damn, man, as soon as he gets to the top, man, he's gonna be a problem. But I said maybe his last 3 or 4 fights, especially the one where he was supposed to fight Chad Dawson. I think his name was Robert Barrage, the guy that came in for Chad Dawson, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Especially from that fight on, man, he looked bad, in my opinion. He actually showed that he can get hit with a straight left hand, which is very bad because that's Adonis Stevenson's money punch. And in this fight, I didn't see anything different. I didn't see him hone his defensive ability so he's not getting hit with unnecessary shots. Actually, a guy like Lucian Bute, in my opinion, man, he's a done fighter. Going into this fight, Lucian Bute has 1 win out of his last 5 fights. He's fucking 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights. So this is pretty much a done fighter, you know what I'm saying, in my opinion. And he made the fight look good for himself. There was a lot of waiting on Eleider Alvarez's part early on, and then, you know, towards the end of the fight, there was a lot of inside fighting to where you're looking at it. I mean, you have to be looking at the fight with a microscope to see who actually came up on top in those kind of exchanges.
Yeah.
With the guy like Lucian Bute, who, like I said, is done, Eleider Alvarez should have looked very good in this fight. He should have showcased himself in this fight. He should have shown us why he was the mandatory initially and why he should still be the mandatory. Now, he did get the knockout, but it just didn't look good getting to that point. It was a short right hand that buzzed Lucian Bute, backed him up, and then he finished him off with a left hook. To me, it just didn't look good getting to that point, man. And if he comes into the ring with Adonis Stevenson looking like this, especially not knowing how to catch that straight left hand or, you know, move his head to the right so he can evade that straight left, to the left so he can evade that straight left, then I see him possibly getting knocked out by Adonis Stevenson, man.
Yeah. Bo, you got anything you want to follow up with on that one?
You know, this Lucian Bute got 9 goddamn lives. All right, for some reason, this motherfucker pops up in fights. He pops positive. He gets another chance, pops up in another fight, and he just got 9 lives. But I agree with 2K. I was, you know, although Alvarez, you know, he won with the knockout and everything, I wasn't really impressed by it because it wasn't like he looked great getting the knockout against a guy who pretty much is a shot fighter, like 2K said. So, I mean, congratulations for getting it. But, you know, Lucian Bute he's not the same Lucian Bute we remember back when he was at the top. So, but, you know, good win. I don't really know what to say about Alvarez because it's like 2K. He didn't look impressive, so it does make you question or wonder, you know, where does he go from this victory? Because it's like I don't see him competing with none of the top echelon guys at the division right now. So, you know, good victory, but neither one of them. I wasn't impressed by neither one of them dudes. That's pretty much all you can say about that fight.
All right, I'm going to pass it back to Bernard on this one. What do you think needs to happen to Bute? Is it time for him to hang him up, or you see him continuing to be a cash cow? You know, that's pretty much what they could use him for there and how this whole fight was made possible, you know, because he still could fill out a crowd there in Montreal.
I mean, use him as a cash cow, use him basically pretty much in 175 pounds as a gatekeeper. or until he turns into a journeyman, man. Pretty much, that's what I would do. He's a name that people could get on their resume. He can fill those stadiums, like you said, yeah, cash cow, but he could be a step up for those that try to come up in the division.
All right. Yeah, I definitely agree with 2K on this one. As far as Alvarez wasn't impressive, Bute was actually getting with him, for the majority of the fight. So, other than those two right hands that, fucked up his nose and the other one put his ass out for good, it wasn't really an impressive victory for Alvarez. I guess a knockout is supposed to be impressive, but he didn't, look too special beyond that in doing it. So, with that said, yeah, let's get it, Superman. Superman that hoe. All right? Gotta get that in.
That's right. Superman is a hoe. That's right. Superman is a hoe.
Facts.
I agree with you. Superman is a hoe.
Where's my button? Where's my button at? Hold on. Let me get.
Oh man.
Let me get to my button. All right. So we're gonna go into the card that happened last night. Actually, pretty good card, man. For the most part, man, we're gonna start off with the Tony Harrison versus Jarrett Hurd fight, man. As usual, give it to the analysis, man. 2K. Tell us what you saw in this fight, man, because it was actually a battle of two different fights, man, if you want to look at it that way.
Shit. What I saw in this fight was Tony Harrison versus Willie Nelson Part 2. That's the fuck I seen in this fight. And that's funny thing is, man, I was going back and forth with my co-host Seth, man, on my channel in the gym. I was trying to tell the kid, man, I was like, bro, Tony Harrison's IQ is like 1. You know what I'm saying? That's his ring IQ.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Straight up, like whenever I'm a defer to a couple fights here, besides the Willie Nelson Harrison fight. Whenever you see a fighter winning handedly early in the fight, right, only to get to the mid-level rounds to start losing rounds gradually, and then to the later rounds end up losing by knockout, that tells you two things. Number one, he doesn't know how to fucking adjust. Okay, apparently his opponent did something in the ring, right, and was able to overcome, being dominated, and that fighter that was winning could not adjust. Or two, the opponent didn't really do anything; he kept doing the same shit, but the opponent, the fighter who was dominating, he didn't know how to react to it for whatever reason later on in the fight. Could have been stamina, could have been anything, right? But out of both those points, it still means that fighter has a low-ass IQ because he cannot keep the fucking dominance going. And another fight that I had seen recently, and this might be a little under you guys' radar. I'm not sure if y'all seen it or not, but there was a prospect out in the UK. His name was Jose Grant, and he fought a guy named Robert Buglioni, right? He was beating the shit out of this motherfucker for 11 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Started to fade off in like round 9 and 10, and then round 11 he faded off completely, and Buglioni actually got the round. But then in round 12, he completely could not figure out Buglioni, even though Buglioni was doing the same fucking thing from round 1 to round 11. For some reason, he couldn't figure it out anymore, and he ended up getting knocked out. That's the same kind of shit Tony Harrison does, man. And it only tells you, it's a testament to how low his IQ is. He relies 100%. And Bernard, when I say IQ, nigga, I'm not talking about reading and fucking literacy, nigga. I'm talking about ring IQ.
Boxing, yeah, boxing.
Hold on. First and foremost, don't come at me like I know what the fuck you talking about. Shit.
You laughing like you
No, nigga, don't come at me with that bullshit, man. No. No, you gotta go with that bullshit. I said that motherfucker ring IQ because he fucked up with that mouthpiece shit.
Well, we'll get to that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, and that's the problem, though. Like, he relies 100% on his athleticism, and when you do that, whenever your opponent, he's mixing things up in the ring, or he may be doing the same shit, but you may, fail in the stamina department. where your athleticism cannot pick up the flaws because your stamina is actually what drives your athleticism, well, then you're a fucking sitting duck in the ring. And that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen a patient Jarrett Hurd from round 1 until he got the knockout in round 9. He was patient. He was getting his ass beat, but he was patient. He kept doing the same thing, and Tony Harrison he wound down, and he couldn't figure out what to do at the end. And to go to Bernard's point, the whole thing about spitting the mouthpiece out, a lot of people are saying he didn't quit. I want people to understand that going back to the amateurs, right? Spitting out your mouthpiece is an infraction. Everybody knows that. You usually get deducted a point if you spit your mouthpiece out on purpose if you've already gotten a warning, right?
Yep.
But when you are getting up off the fucking canvas and the ref is looking at you, asking you if you want to continue, and you proceed to spit your mouthpiece out at that point, that's telling the referee you're done. So the referee is going to call the fight. That shit is known to all fighters going all the way back to the amateurs, fam. You do not spit your mouthpiece out when recovering from a knockdown, okay? That tells the ref, I don't want to fight anymore. So to me, he quit in this fight. But he was already quitting early on in those rounds leading up to the knockout. So big ups to Jarrett Hurd, man, new IBF champion, in Jamal Charlo's absence. Tony Harrison, I don't know what the fuck he gonna do. Motherfucker need to probably go get a job at Walmart or something, man. I don't want to see that nigga in the ring no more. Straight up.
Damn.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, this is the second time it's happened, like, just like you said in the Willie Nelson fight. He was dominating for most of the fight, winning most of the rounds, picking up rounds, putting them in the bank, and then he get caught with something, just start getting caught. Hurd was definitely patient in this fight. Let me go ahead and pass it on to Big Cool on this one. What do you see as far as Hurd's prospects from here? What do you think he needs to improve on? Because he definitely he definitely looked good in there for the most part until he started landing his right and just stalking Tony down.
I mean, Hurd is what he is, I guess. I mean, I thought he'd perform better. I thought it'd be a closer fight. Tony did his thing in the first half of the fight, like, okay, said, but Hurd he wouldn't really cut the ring off until later on in the fight. He would just follow him around. He didn't really go to the body early like I thought he would, but the uppercut was there, and I mentioned in the video that, once Tony started to lean in and square himself up, the uppercut would be there, and he did do it in the second half of the fight, which, one of the punches that really, caused him to be hurt. But Hurd got to be more active, and I don't know what it was, man. Maybe it was just, like he said after the fight, they followed the Willie Nelson game plan. Maybe he just didn't show as much because he knew Tony would do what he did, which would tire her out mentally and physically, start to make stupid mistakes, and make him pay later. But as far as him against Andre or Laura or Jermell Charlo, he's going to have to bring his A game, or he will, get embarrassed, stopped, outboxed. But like I said, he's young, hungry guy, and he did what he had to do, so props to him. And Tony Harrison, man, just fought a stupid fight, man. I don't want to elaborate on it too much, but he started letting his hands, dropping his hands. He started showboating, and I don't know, man. It was just a stupid second half of the fight, and he paid for it, and now he's back to the drawing board. But I think he can bounce back. But yeah, Hurd just gotta, get better, and maybe, like I said, it was just his game plan to follow what Willie Nelson did, knowing that Tony Harrison is a mentally weak fighter who gasses out. So it worked for him, and now he got to get better against better competition.
All right, and I'll go ahead and pass it to Bo, man. Let me get your takes on the 154 division right now as it lays with, Hurd in his belt now, the vacant belt that was vacated by Charlo.
Let me say to what 2K said and what Big Cool said. Let the church say amen. Look, bottom line is 154 division with Charlo moving up and with Jarrett Hurd holding the belt, it has got somewhat interesting. Lauder has said that he'd be willing to fight Jermell because Jermell has absolutely no ties at all to their trainer. who is training Ronnie Shields. And Jamel has a totally different trainer. So
yeah,
Lotto would have no So Lotto would have no problem fighting him. And of course, you know, we all know that there's a backstory to why Jamel has his other trainer. Also, Jarrett Hurd is a new player in that division. So if you're going to do any kind of unifications, now's the time to try making that. But as far as the fight goes, listen, I was watching this fight, and I said this. Listen, Jarrett Hurd was facing someone that was just as tall as him with the same length, so he was going to have to deal with it, make some adjustments. And I saw, slowly but surely, he started finding his range. And there was a round, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was a 6. And when he hit Harrison with that hook and wobbled them knees, I said, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I said, that's it.
Yeah.
I said, that's it. Yeah, when he did, I think it was the 6. When he hit him and he wobbled them knees, I said, that's it. The boy has found his range. He's going to be on his ass. And he came out in that 8th round on his ass. And then he came out in that 9th round, the same thing, on his ass. Because just like 2K said, Tony Harrison shows lack of ring, not just ring intelligence, but ring awareness. When he got up against that rope, all of a sudden he forgot how to slide left or slide motherfucking right. Okay? Also, what I want to point out is 2K is 100% correct, and I said this. If Tony Harrison, when he went down, would have spit his mouthpiece out when he went down and got up, then he would have got the time he wanted to get a break to come out the mouthpiece. He looked at the ref, told the ref he was okay, then spit his mouthpiece out. Like 2K said, that is the universal signal for I'm done. Okay? That is the universal. And notice he didn't argue that fucking point when the referee waved the fight. You know why he didn't argue? Because he knew. Oh shit. He didn't take it the way I thought he would take it. So, you know, Jarrett Hurd winning the title is good in the aspect of now maybe we have some unification fights. My only concern is will they try to start making those unification fights right now? Because, you know, what I saw from Jarrett Hurd last night is not going to be enough, in my opinion, probably to beat Eleider Lotto, who's really a slick boxer. Because Jarrett Hurd, he wasn't doing a lot of head movement. He kept, when he was throwing his jab, he kept leaning to one side and was getting hit by Tony Harrison. You know, I didn't see the Jarrett Hurd I thought I would see, that, you know, to win this fight. So he's going to have a hard time as he moves up. But, you know, props for him for having the game plan, sticking to it, and not folding him. Because he knew it wasn't going his way, but he also had a game plan. It's almost like they knew, hey, man, we get this dude in deep water. Then we're going to really see what he's made of, because I know what I can do. So, you know, props to him for that. But as far as Tony Harrison, big cool. I hear what you're saying. We're supposed to be positive. I don't think you bounced back from this. You lost back-to-back time in the 9th round. That shit is mental now.
No,
that shit is mental. Okay, yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, that's back either. Yeah, I'm about to say that shit is mental. Each time you've stepped up to Willie Nelson, knocked out in the 9th round. Stepped up for a title shot, knocked out in the 9th round. That shit is mental now. That shit in him is mental. Go ahead.
You know what, Bo? And this fight isn't even a step up for him. He was actually the more experienced fighter. This was a step up for Jarrett Hurd.
Yeah, that's good. That's true. But it goes back also to this is why I say it's mental. I saw in his face when the 9th round came, and you can see he was wilting. It took him back to the Willie Nelson fight. He did not know how to mentally overcome that in his head, and that's why he spit that mouthpiece out when he hit that floor. He mentally in his brain, the boy checked out.
We had a comment in the chat room that he tried to pull a Diego Corrales move. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I heard that earlier.
I mean, he could have took another.
100% disagree. 100%, yeah. Exactly what Big Pooh said. 100% disagree. You can't pull a Diego Corrales move when the fucking ref is staring at you. And like I said, this is common knowledge going all the way back to the amateurs. That's what people are not hearing. It's common knowledge going back to the amateurs that if you spit your mouthpiece out in front of the ref when recovering from a knockdown, the ref is going to call the fight. He knew this. And
then he didn't even protest it. You know, he didn't even say, no. You know, he was like, okay, shit, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. he definitely looked defeated at that point. You know what I'm saying?
You should have watched Tim Bradley versus Hope. Tim Bradley did with his technique.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Good point.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take it on to the main event. Deontay Wilder versus Gerald Washington. Fight ended in what, a fifth round knockout?
Fifth round, yeah.
Hey, you sure you want to do this right now?
Yeah, right.
Hey, we can talk about that.
Man.
We can talk about that one, man. You might want to say that one. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, we should talk about Dominic Brazil right now, fam. That's what we should talk about right now.
All right, we can go ahead and go into that one, man. I didn't necessarily see it, so I'll let you guys chop it up. What's his name? Uzabago. I actually had liked him, prior to this fight. I thought he could do some things and thought he might actually win this fight against Brazil, especially once I saw the weigh-in. So
should have won.
The way it went down, yeah. 2K, tell me what happened, man.
Oh, you know what? I was gonna let either Big Cool or Bernard go first, man, because Bernard had the idea to do this, so I was gonna let him go first. I'm curious to hear his. Yeah, I gotta hear this shit.
Oh man, this was a casual affair right here, baby. Oh, this was a casual one. I was loving this fight. It was knockdowns. It was hard hitting and stuff. Hell, okay, let me say this. I'm about to pull up my scorecard, man, because this shit was pretty much almost a back and forth, fight starting with the pretty much in the third round. Like you can't U.O.E.N.O had the first two rounds, okay, but then Brazil caught him with something and had him laid out in the third round, man. That shocked me because I thought Brazil was pretty much done, for my opinion. Okay, come back. U.O.E.N.O comes back in the fourth round, knocks him down. So pretty much all right. It's looking like this is gonna be one of the fight. This fight ain't gonna last long. So we get to the fifth round, and Brazil catches U.O.E.N.O once, knocks him down. He gets back up, gets knocked out. This time he gets knocked out the ring. The fight is over with, man. I want to sit here and say this. It was a good fight. I was shocked with Dominic Brazil. I was kind of surprised with how much weight he came in, man. Speaking from the last time he fought, where they said he went from last few fights, he was at like 215. Now he's at 253. So I was really kind of surprised for him to have that much, put on that much weight as a heavyweight. But something with U.O.E.N.O I looked at was his stamina. He was out of breath, man. He wasn't pacing himself correctly. I don't know if it was possibly being overexcited or him being I'm sorry.
Muscle, man. Too much muscle. This motherfucker be in there. This nigga be in there bench pressing and shit. He be doing the shit I do and then get in the boxing ring. You can't do that as a fighter, man. You have to. You got to slim down on the muscle. You gonna have stamina issues.
Yeah, so that definitely played a role. So I'm looking at, man, as for Dominic Brazil, I'm very shocked at how he pulled off the victory. I wasn't expecting him to win. I thought he was pretty much done when he went against Anthony Joshua. Where his mindset was at from that fight. But U.O.E.N.O, I don't know, man. He can't. I mean, he did what he can. I think right now he goes back. And he goes back to the drawing board. And Dominic, man, I mean, he's 18-1 right now. I'm not saying he gets a title shot, but put him up against a contender.
Hell, motherfucking no, he better not get no goddamn title shot in that shit.
Hey, Bo, you already know. Hey, hold on. We already talked about this on our show earlier today. You already know the bullshit I've already believed was going to happen, but we
touch on that. Yeah, we're going to touch on that after we talk about the main event. We'll get into that. Deontay Wilder versus Gerald Washington, fifth round knockout. For his first fight coming back off the injury, Wilder. 2K. I'm not even sure there's much to do with analysis on other than the knockout because, it was pretty much a one-sided fight heading into the round. So, but yeah. Let me get an idea of what you saw in this fight, man.
Well, oh, shit. Well, let me just say, one thing is this, man. Deontay Wilder did come off of a hand injury. He broke his hand. I believe it was his right hand, his money punch hand. But that shit ain't got nothing to do with the jab. That's all I got to say, fam. And it ain't got nothing to do with being able to defend the jab, okay? It has nothing to do with being able to elude your opponent's pressure and set him up with your own jab. Mind you, he broke his right hand. He jabs with his left. It has nothing to do with being too wild in the ring when you've got your opponent hurt. Shout out to my man Wilson, man. He posted a clip at the end of the fight of Deontay Wilder trying to get at Gerald Washington. The nigga was doing literal windmills with his fucking arms. You know what I'm saying? It is ridiculous at 38 fucking professional fights for Deontay Wilder to be looking the way he looks. Now, I'm going to go with something Bo said, and I agree with him to an extent. He said he needs a new trainer. For me, if him getting a new trainer is to basically try to polish what he's already good at because the trainer he has now can no longer do it, then I'm with that. If we're talking about get a new trainer so we can make him better at his flaws, at 31 years old with 38 pro fights, I think it's too late for that, especially where he's at status-wise as a heavyweight champion. His next fight better be, or let me say this, his next fight should be against one of the best at the heavyweight division. We should not see him in the ring with another fighter the caliber of Gerald Washington, Artur Spilka, Eric Molina, Chris Arreola, Johan Duhapis. We should not see him in the ring with that caliber of fighter in his next fight. With that said, at this point,
he might have to fight Berman Stavern next.
I know.
Shit.
But see, Berman Stavern is, in my opinion, better than those guys. The only problem with Berman Stavern is two things. One, Deontay's already beat him and made it look easy. And number two, he hasn't done shit since losing to Wilder. He only fought one fight, and it was against a journeyman by the name of Derek Rossi. That's the only problem I have with Berman Stavern. Okay, then they're throwing out Kubrat Pulev. Kubrat Pulev hasn't been relevant since 2014 when he lost fucking Vladimir Klitschko. His last fight, he knocked out old-ass, decrepit, arthritis-having Samuel fucking Peter. Okay? A nigga, I mentioned this to my co-host. He was like, the African cat? That motherfucker still boxing? I was like, yep, that's who he just beat. You know what I'm saying? So he shouldn't even be ranked number 3. Berman Stavern should not be ranked number 1. Who ranked number 1 should be is who's at number 2 right now. And oh boy, y'all know who I'm talking about. Luis motherfucking Ortiz. Now, if this Deontay Wilder I seen tonight goes in, or last night, and goes in the ring with Luis Ortiz, bruh, you talking about flatline. I think Luis Ortiz is not, this is one thing people don't understand. Luis Ortiz is not only gifted athletically, but he's a smart fighter as well. Okay? Motherfuckers bring up his fight with Scott, and then they bring up subtle things inside the Brian Jennings fight. I try to tell them, I've seen Luis Ortiz fight well before those fights. I saw the fight with, the African cat that was undefeated. Yeah, he had that draw with Antonio Tarver. I've seen that fight. I've seen him fight before that. Luis Ortiz has brought dynamics into the ring, meaning one fight he'll look one way, and the next fight he'll look another way. And he does it based on what his opponent is allowing him to do. Brian Jennings doesn't have very much power, so Luis Ortiz is like, I'm going to walk through this shit. I'm about to knock him out because nobody's done it before. Not even Vladimir Klitschko. Okay. Scott, he was
who playing that music?
That nigga the whole time. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Ortiz is going to bring in the ring, he's going to be the type of fighter in the ring against Deontay Wilder, doing the things that Deontay Wilder is going to allow him to do, okay? And that's two things. One, he's going to get close to Wilder. And two, he can even jab his way inside of Wilder because he knows Wilder is going to back straight up with his fucking arms extended out. that dumb shit he's been doing since he was an amateur. He knows he's going to do that, and he can get inside of Wilder. And he can hit Wilder with anything he wants to hit him with. Bruh, I don't know, man. He's talking about Joseph Parker. That's probably the safest spot to go right now. Like, I wouldn't fuck with AJ right now, even though I think AJ is a bit too stiff. I think Wilder can catch him. But that's still a very dangerous fight, looking at this Wilder we seen last night. So Joseph Parker would be the best bet for him. But I better not see this motherfucker in the ring with nobody other than a unification bout or Luis Ortiz in his next fight.
Well,
you done with the ether? You done with the ether, 2K?
Well, you about to be disappointed in a motherfucker.
Yo! Yo, you done with the ether, 2K?
Dominic Brazil is going to be his next opponent, probably. Watch. Fuck out.
It's going to be Stavern.
It's going to be Stavern.
Man, that's bullshit, man. I ain't trying to see that shit, man. I'm not trying to
see it. The WBC has ordered Bernie Stavern and Wilder.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
They ordered. Now, Wilder has a choice he can make. He can try to pacify the WBC by saying, listen, let me pursue a unification fight with Joseph Parker. He can try to do that, and I think they would be okay with it and let it go down. And he can say, listen, let me do a unification fight with Joseph Parker, and then let me come back to Berman.
Would he have to give Berman step-aside money too, right?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. So that's something that he could look at, and that's something I hope he does look at. I'm sorry, Twan. Whose turn is it? Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Let me say this right here. And I've said this. I've said, listen, there's some unanswered questions about Luis Ortiz. How would he deal with fighting a bigger, taller fighter, someone as rangy as Deontay Wilder? How would he deal with being hit once he gets hit by someone that can hit as hard? But also at the same time, how Wilder going to deal with somebody that's going to jump on him and be on him? So there's some unanswered questions there. But Deontay Wilder, this is what people have to understand. Like 2K said a lot, but these people got to understand. Because it's not that motherfucker is being critical about him. But Deontay Wilder is an American heavyweight holding the most prestigious fucking belt in boxing. He's holding the most prestigious fucking belt in boxing, which is the WBC goddamn belt. And when you are holding that belt puts you under the microscope. Why? Because that belt is associated with whoever holds that belt is being looked at as the man. Okay? Deontay Wilder relies on what I call his bailout fucking punch, which is his right hand. Now, he was in with Joe Washington, who was a tall man like him, who also had the exact same length. So so maybe he took a longer to get off, whatever the case may be. I don't care. I really don't give a shit because, again, the only thing he didn't do is that shit where he puts his hand up like the mummy and shakes back. He didn't do that shit. But other than that, I'm still not impressed with his skill set level. Like, this dude has almost 40 fights, and he's making the same mistakes. Listen, I said this about Broner. I'm going to say the same thing about Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is a B-level fighter with elite-level knockout power. That's fucking it. And I'm being nice by saying B-level. I'm really being nice. I want to say C plus B minus because he should not be having the issues with these level fighters that he's having and having a hard time with them. He just should not be having that. Now, I'll give him props for this. He doesn't fold, when it's not going his way. He doesn't fold in it. He believes in his power, okay, and he goes for it. But I'm tired of, you beat Burners to Burn, like 2K said, you made it look easy. But then everybody else you struggle with, Molina, you struggle with fucking Molina, you struggle with fucking Spilker. Chris Ariola was a fucking gimme. And, here it is, Joe Washington, and, you hear people saying shit like, okay, but he fought a confident guy. I don't give a fuck how confident a motherfucker is. Motherfucker was confident when he fought Floyd. That didn't make them not stop looking stupid when he whooped him. I don't give a fuck about how confident you are. Listen, you cannot have 40 fights, okay, and look the way he looked. I need to see an improvement in the man's skill set. And the reality is this, because I get an argument with cats all the time. My issue with people about Deontay is don't talk to me like I said this. You motherfuckers that when we was making these matchups and shit, you motherfuckers, when it came to Gennady Golovkin, was only telling me, oh, he could beat any motherfucking 160, no matter what era, because of his power. So when I say, well, how come Deontay Wilder don't get that same chance that you get 3G, then y'all want to bring up skill set. The heavyweight division is the only fucking division where skill set has never been an issue. Okay, skill set has not been the main thing everybody looked at. It's been, hey, can you knock him out? Because motherfuckers like seeing big guys go timber. But my issue with Deontay Wilder is I'm tired of seeing him do the same thing, make the same mistake. There is no growth. There is no improvement. It's always a matter of fights are close until he lands. Well, what happens when he faces that one motherfucker that ain't going to be hurt by that, ain't going to be a tiger on his? What happens when he faces another Deontay Wilder with skill? What happens when that happens? He has to have a plan. He has to have something to go to. Now, he tried to implement it a little bit, okay? I saw a little bit, he tried to use his jab a little bit better. But then again, let's even look at that aspect. Gerald Washington's jab was the stronger jab of the two. Gerald Washington's jab was moving Deontay Wilder at 220. He was moving his ass, okay? Deontay Wilder doesn't catch and shoot. Deontay Wilder doesn't use the angle, step aside. Deontay Wilder doesn't counter, all right? So, I mean, not trying to be critical and shit on him, he won the fight. His right hand is his bailout fight. But when you are an American heavyweight holding the most prestigious belt in boxing, you cannot look this bad almost in the 40 fights. And that's my issue with him. So when I say he needs a new trainer, he needs somebody, like what 2K said. Listen, man, we got to work on this stuff right here, make you better at it. Love Mark Breland. Love him. Mark Breland, like the guy. But we all know Mark Breland didn't exactly live up to what a lot of people felt his career should have been as a professional fighter. I've seen Mark Breland be the taller man get hit by shit that I'm like, why are you letting this little motherfucker hit you with that? You're the taller dude. That shouldn't be happening. Okay? So, I mean, he's the heavyweight champion. Is he, like, I'm with 2K. Like, Ortiz, I think, would give him trouble and puzzle him because the problem with Deontay Wilder is these fighters like Stoker and Molina and even Gerald Washington, they are puzzling him while he's in there fighting. And that just shouldn't happen when you can clearly see these motherfuckers are not on your level. Okay? Say what you want to say about Anthony Joshua. I argue with cats all the time. But Anthony Joshua gets these motherfuckers out of here. It don't take him, to be bailed out by a punch. He gets these motherfuckers out of here. He gets them out of there. Okay? Say what you want to say about Vladimir Klitschko. He gets motherfuckers out of here. He lets you know you ain't on my level. Jab, jab, hold, pow. Get the fuck out of here. Next. Okay? So I'm just saying, man, we need to see more out of him. And people talking about him being windmilly and all of that, I say it's after he gets guys hurt. But if he fights yeah, exactly. But now let's say he fights Ortiz and he knocks Ortiz out. Or he fights, like you said, Joseph Parker. He fights Joseph Parker, knocks him out. Fights Ortiz, knocks him out. Then you can talk about being willing all he wants. He's winning. But he's winning against quality opponents. Because the bottom line is, and there's something I want to take back, and I waited for this show to do because I want 2K to hear this. I said something, we was talking about it. I said, I don't want to hear Joshua or motherfucking Wilder talk. Both of them shouldn't talk. I'm taking that back. Because that performance last night made me think about something. You goddamn right Anthony Joshua should talk about Wilder fighting better fucking competition. You goddamn right Joshua's looking to say, I'm fighting the best heavyweight in the last 10 years and under 20 fights. Yeah, my last fight against Andre Dirrell was against a C-level motherfucking dude. But now I've stepped my game. I went from C-level to the elite level dude. You're still fighting C. Fuck out of here. I'm sorry.
Throw a D in there. Throw a couple D's in there while you in that chain of C, because Johan Duhaves is not a C-level fighter. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Neither is Eric Molina.
That's true. And I want to say one more thing too. People say, okay, well he's fighting guys, and I say this, or at the very least he's fighting guys ranked in the top 10. I'll say it, but it still doesn't mean that they are top guys because they're ranked in the top 10. That's not what that means. Okay, so I personally feel like what this motherfucker needs to do is say, listen, okay, I got pride. My pride is taking a hit. I need y'all, the WBC, to let me make a unification fight with Joseph Parker. Let me give this motherfucker Thurman step aside money, fight Joseph Parker. Then after I fight and beat Joseph Parker, then I'll come back and we can revisit Thurman. I need him to do that for me. Because if he says nothing and goes forward with this Thurman fight and say, hey, it's a Mando, fuck out of here. He will get it from me. And I'm telling Twan and Big Cool, don't bring the motherfucker on the show, because he will hear it from me. He will hear it from me. Real talk. Because if you're telling me you want to be the best, then you got to show me you're making moves to be the best. And this is one of them. Hey, let me make a unification fight, then I'll revisit Thurman. That's what you do. Don't keep hiding behind Mando. Don't keep hiding behind that shit. Sorry, I don't know. Don't keep doing that. Don't. If you're telling me you want to be the best, you know you're going to make it heavyweight, you're saying, hey, the division is more exciting since Valdez, because the last 10 years Valdez, nobody talked about it. Okay, show me you're willing to make it exciting. Go out and show us that you're willing to put what you say on the line, because Anthony Joshua is doing it right now. I need to see it from Deontay. If I don't see it from him, don't bring the motherfucker on this show. He will hear it from me. I'm just going to tell y'all that. Y'all going to lose that battle free if you bring one of these motherfuckers.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, the politics is going to play out how they play out, man. You know how this stuff always goes.
No, dog, bullshit, man. I don't want to hear that.
I guarantee you. Why? Like I said, it's not even going to be all Wilder's fault.
Boxing organization can't do shit without the
It's not even going to be all Wilder's fault.
Cut that bullshit out, dog. The boxing organization can't do shit without the goddamn fighters. Okay?
Okay, what has Parker been saying? What's their next likely fight after Huey Fury? So that's what I'm saying. It's not going to come down to Wilder. Yeah, he has, man. He said it's most likely going to be after Joshua.
Okay, but again, a unification fight. Am I mad that he's talking about a unification fight? No, I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that.
Plus, he was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua a long ass time ago. He got the runaround. He got the runaround with that shit like 3 times over. He was supposed to fight him after Dillian White.
Basically, that's what their team is saying. They're gonna go after Joshua after the Huey Fury Mando. They want to go after Joshua, or basically.
Okay. Why doesn't Wilder go after Joshua as well then?
Right.
Joshua's been talking a whole lot of hot shit. And let me tell you something else. Bob Arum may not make the fight with Deontay Wilder using Joseph Parker. He may not want to do that shit. Remember, Joseph Parker's with Top Rank. So he may not want to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So why isn't Wilder saying, fuck it, see, after this fight, he said Joseph Parker, who is the weakest champion in the division. Why isn't he saying, I want the fucking winner of Klitschko AJ, because that is the biggest heavyweight fight that is getting ready to take place. Why didn't he mention them niggas? Plus, I know Deontay Wilder is privy of the shit that Anthony Joshua has been talking. I know he knows it. So why didn't he mention it? See, that's what I'm talking about, dog. Trying to hoard that motherfucking title so he don't lose it. Understand, being America's heavyweight champion is a huge success. Look at his face at the end of this. He just beat a chump. Look at his face as the crowd is cheering for him. He loves it. He loves it. Same with the Adonis Stevenson. After he knocked out, he got the miracle win over Chad Dawson, okay? Nobody thought he was going to win that fight. Actually, he was a tune-up for Chad Dawson. That was supposed to be a fight where Chad Dawson was going to come back to form, okay? But he ended up getting the miracle knockout. Now he's been fighting a bunch of fucking nobodies since. Even bringing up, yeah, exactly. Even just about to say that. Even bringing up niggas who just lost their last fight at 168 as a goddamn contender at 175. Come on, bro. And Sekio Bika fighting a bunch of Dimitri Suck. Who the fuck is that? Sakotsky. Nigga's first name is Suck. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm not trying to see that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of shit that Deontay Wilder is doing. He loves the attention. He loves the fucking fame. He's not trying to lose it. Oh, and he will lose it if he gets in the ring with the Vladimir Klitschko, in my opinion, and I'm saying that now before we actually see him in the ring with Anthony Joshua. If he gets in the ring with the Luis Ortiz, and even if Tyson Fury were to come back from sniffing cocaine and he's back to the old Tyson Fury, he loses it to him as well. He's not trying to lose that belt, bro. Easy to see, man.
All right. Anyways, we're going to go to our next topic now.
Well, we were expecting Peter Diaz to call in, but he had a little issue with his daughter. So, you know what I'm saying? We hope everything's going well with his family, and then we'll try to reschedule him to come in on another show. So, sorry about that for people expecting them to call in tonight. But we had some other news throughout Boxing to cover. Pretty much Manny Pacquiao versus Amir Khan is looking like it's going down April 23rd. I'm not sure if it's happening the Arab Emirates or in the UK. Not sure, but both tweeted about the fight. You said July.
No, Dubai. The fight supposed to be happening in Dubai.
Yeah, I said Arab Emirates. That's part of it. But that looks like that's going on in April. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight. I'll start off with you, Big Cool.
Long overdue, I guess. They Manny gonna win. Manny will stop him just because Shin has really been severely dented by Canelo. Props to Khan for wanting to, continue to fight the best guys. I'm pretty sure he's getting paid well. I mean, it should be a good fight because Amir Khan can fight. He still has fast hands, can box, but he can't take a shot to save his life. So I expect Pacquiao to get him out there 6 to 8 rounds. Depends on if Pacquiao wants to, put the metal to the pedal and go for it. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was a long, drawn-out stinker won by Pacquiao. But he's going to win regardless, knockout or decision. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to pay for the fight, but it's a good fight, I guess.
All right, we pass it on to the casual, Bernard. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Hey, fuck what he talking about. He don't know what he's talking about. Let me give a big shout out to Malachi. Just in case he listens to it or one of you guys decide to run back and tell him, I already inboxed him and let him know Amir Khan's getting in that ass. I said on the Truth and Facts about boxing, I said here, Amir Khan knocking his ass out, late round stoppage, motherfuckers. Fuck y'all. fuck Manny Pacquiao. Fuck Bob Arum. If you down with top rank, fuck you too. I'm going with Amir Khan. This is Amir Khan do or die fight, so Amir Khan ain't got no other choice but to win this motherfucker. He's going to win. If not, he got to put that sex tape out with his wife, like I said in a couple podcasts ago. What?
Guess Khan's gonna die then. I guess Khan's gonna die then. I guess Khan's gonna die because he ain't gonna win this fight.
No, he wins this fight. Trust me, he ain't got no other choice. It's a high risk, high reward for that motherfucker. He's gonna take that WBO belt.
High reward for a brutal ass whooping.
He gonna take that WBO belt, and then he's gonna flaunt it, and he's gonna talk shit. Say, hey, I want the winner of Thurman and Garcia, which whoever wins that fight, we all know he ain't gonna fight him, but he was gonna talk shit. Then I think for some odd reason he's gonna end up fighting Terrence Crawford, and I'm gonna figure that shit and going and Crawford gonna whoop his ass. That's the plan. That's what I think is gonna happen. But other than that, I got Amir Khan late round stoppage. Fuck what y'all got to say. Y'all some haters, and fuck Manny Pacquiao, and fuck Malachi too.
Oh man, he shouted him out, and then he said, "Fuck."
He's trying for some personal vendettas, man. What kind of?
I got love for bro, though. That's my bro.
He shouted him out, and then he said, "Fuck him." That's hilarious right there.
That's classic Bernard right there for you.
Let me pass it on to Bo, man. What are your thoughts about this fight happening, especially considering, there's prospects of Khan fighting Kell Brook just a couple of weeks ago, and he said he needed a easy fight, before he, coming off injury before he fought Brook, but then touched this Pacquiao fight. So let me get your thoughts on that aspect, man.
Oh, it's simple. Khan's a bitch. That's simple. He's a bitch. I'm just putting it like that. I mean, you said, look at what you said. You said that he didn't want to fight Kell Brooks because he needed a tune-up fight coming back, right? He told Kell, go take care of Spence, then come back and look at me. Then he turns around and takes a Pacquiao fight. So that tells us what? He didn't want to fight Kell Brooks. He's a bitch. Khan did to Kell Brooks what Kell Brooks was going to do to Spence. Okay? He's never wanted to fight Brooks. Okay, Khan wants a big fight to cash out. Khan has Twittered. His followers have allowed him to fight and get his way into fights without actually doing what? Fucking earning it and get his way into fights. And that's exactly what he has done. He has kissed ass, jerked off, dicked on videotape to his way into a big goddamn fight. That's what he did. That dude took a fight. I mean, I give him props. I mean, listen, Khan in his own mind is the biggest star that there is in boxing in his own goddamn mind. And if he beats Manny, the only reason why I don't want him to beat Manny Pacquiao is because if he beats Manny Pacquiao, you're not gonna be telling this nigga shit. Let me tell Khan shit. Khan is, and you talking about title hoarding? Do you really think after Khan beats Manny Pacquiao, he gonna let go of that card?
Oh, I got something to say about that, but I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
Okay. He ain't gonna fight nobody. He ain't gonna look to fight nobody unless they come in with some big dollars for him.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We got a caller on the line. I'm going to let my man Anthony Stackstyle down and come on. He's actually a journalist as well out in Cali. I'm going to bring him on. What's going on with you, Stacks?
Hey, what's going on, guys? So a little bit about this Pacquiao-Khan fight. I'm hearing it is going to be in Dubai, and it's going to be a split pay-per-view. Top Rank does have the StubHub locked up for April 22nd. With the triple header going on there, you got Oscar Valdez, Gilberto Ramirez, and Jesse Magdaleno all fighting that Saturday night at the StubHub Center. They're also saying that Shakur Stevenson is going to be making his debut on that card. So Top Rank's looking to do a split pay-per-view for that fight. But I think Pacquiao's going to handle Khan pretty easily. He looked good against Bradley. He looked good against Vargas his last fight. I don't think Khan has the chin that Vargas does, and he put Vargas on his ass. So, I think it's going to be a walkthrough fight with Khan. And yesterday, actually earlier this week, Juan Manuel Marquez was offered $17 million to fight Pacquiao in September in China. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen the next fight. Once Pacquiao knocks the shit out of Khan, is they're going to end up having a fight in China, the fifth fight between Marquez and Pacquiao.
Anthony, you're out there in L.A. Let me get your opinion on this. I know you probably heard a little bit of something about this as far as Pacquiao and Khan in their sparring sessions in the past. It's kind of said that Khan got the best of Pacquiao from what I've heard from a few stories. What do you know about any of that in the past?
I heard he did. I heard he used his reach a lot. He's just as fast as Pacquiao, especially coming back down to 47. But Pacquiao gets on the inside. I think he can handle him. But yeah, they did some down on that first level there at the wild card, because they have an upstairs and a downstairs. The downstairs is Freddie Roach's private gym, and yeah, I've heard that Khan put hands on him a few times, and touched him up quite a few times there at the wild card.
Okay. Just Anthony, you want to get everybody your handles, let everybody know your media status, who you work for, and all that, just to give them a shout out while you're on.
Yeah, I write for Front Proof Media with Joseph Carrera out of Tampa, Florida.
Oh yeah,
and
I know Joseph. I know Joseph.
Yeah, Joe's a cool ass guy. I started writing with him, and then I also write for Supreme Boxing. You can catch me on Twitter at Stacks Ringside, and then on Facebook I'm just kind of a little bit everywhere, man. Instagram, Still Will and Dedication. But like I said, I write for both. Been a boxing fan a long time. I think I met probably a few of you guys out there at the fights before. If you guys been in Vegas or LA fights, I'm sure I've ran into you guys a few times, man. My trademark's my hat, so you can always catch me with my little cholo hat on. Yeah.
You got any fights you covering anything coming up?
You know what? Just some local fights. Out here, there's a lot of local club fights. I cover the Belasco once a month, and then Thompson Boxing, which is local club fights out here in Southern California. We've had Provodnikov, Josecito Lopez, Timothy Bradley all came up through the Thompson Bantam promotion. They got a fighter that's going to be fighting next week for the Bantamweight Championship, Carlos Carlson. He's going to be fighting in Tokyo against Yamanaka for the WBC.
Yamanaka, yeah. We were actually going to talk about that fight in one of our previews coming up.
Yeah, so that's all that's going on right now. Nothing major is announced. I know they got that Lemieux fight, the Lemieux Stevens fight coming up in New York. I think Diego De La Hoya is going to be on that card as well. Zachary Ochoa from New York, the Puerto Rican kid, the Golden Boy kid from New York, is going to be on that card. Some prospects out there in New York, and then with the Golden Boy signing that big deal with ESPN, there's a lot of fights coming up. I know the 23rd of March, you got Quigley fighting Glenn Tapia at Fantasy Springs. Then April 1st, they got the Cosmo set up, so there's going to be some ESPN fights in Las Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. So a lot of
Golden Boy series at the Cosmo.
Yeah, so the April 1st, the first one is March 23rd. That's at Fantasy Springs. That's Tapia and Jason Quigley. And then April 1st, I'm not for sure who's going to be on that card, but that's locked up. That's a Saturday night at the Cosmo in Vegas for the ESPN card. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in, Stacks. We definitely going to get in on some other topics, man. Stick on the line if you want to, and let me know if you want to chime in on some of the other topics we got coming on.
For sure.
All right, man. All right, fellas. Anything else you guys want to add on to the Pacquiao Con announcement?
I mean, I guess I'm gonna be the outsider here, man. This is a fight. Not that I'm saying that I've actually been wanting to see, but ever since I was watching a Boxing Nation podcast, man, or a broadcast of Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez Part 3 back in 2012, I believe. And Amir Khan was one of the commentators. And after he mentioned, that fight went to a majority draw, I believe, he mentioned that Juan Manuel Marquez actually won that fight. He said that he wouldn't mind fighting Manny Pacquiao. That was the first time I ever heard Khan say that. And at that point, y'all know I'm not an Amir Khan fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I respect some of the things that he's able to do in the ring. At that point, my thoughts were, yeah, that's an excellent fight. Fast forward to 2017, Khan has had setbacks, but his setbacks were primarily doing stupid shit like going to 154 and fighting Canelo without a rehydration clause. You know what I'm saying? And, the Danny Garcia fight, he left his chin open while he was in the pocket and he got knocked out. Things of that nature. He's still kind of the same fighter. Perfect example was the Devin Alexander fight. He just completely washed Devin Alexander, and we thought that Devin Alexander would actually beat him. A lot of us thought that, or at least he'd make it a good fight, and it was a complete wash. Another one was Luis Collazo, who just knocked out Sammy Vasquez. He's back on the fucking map. After he knocked out Victor Ortiz, everybody's like, man, Luis back. Collazo's back. It's the one that, that really gave Andre Berto his first loss back in 2009. And then Amir Khan stepped in the ring and shut that bullshit up. You know what I'm saying? Now he's back again. You know what I'm saying? So I still think this is an intriguing fight. I'm not going to say it's a good fight. I'm not going to say that Amir Khan is going to beat Manny Pacquiao. One thing I'm going to disagree with Stacks is that he said Pacquiao looked good against Jesse Vargas. I disagree with that. I thought he looked okay. Jesse Vargas had a home for his straight right hand in that fight. If he would have had the power that motherfuckers were trying to market him as having, I mean, I remember literally, bro, before this fight, dumb motherfuckers was out there like, Jesse Vargas has a right hand from hell just because he landed right hand on Tim Bradley. You know what I'm saying? And shook him up. So if he would have really had that right hand from hell, he would have hurt Manny Pacquiao with it as much as he was landing it. So with that said, I didn't think he looked very good in that fight. And going into a Amir Khan fight, a guy that actually has much quicker hands than Jesse Vargas, he's able to land the straight right-handed. That punch is in his arsenal. He throws combinations and bunches. It's an intriguing fight, man, and I can understand why Amir Khan actually touched his ass up, back when they were both training under Freddie Roach. I could see that vividly, you know what I'm saying, just thinking about both their styles. So this is not a walkover fight, you know what I'm saying, by any stretch of the imagination on paper. Now, the Amir Khan that walks in the ring and the Amir Khan on paper, as we've seen in the past, are two different Amir Khans. So it's really going to come down to what Amir Khan we see when that fight is made.
All right. Anything else, fellas, or can we move on?
Next.
So we're going to talk about Canelo and Chavez Jr. They've been doing their press tour pretty much over the past week. And yes, I'm not sure what's really happened, but there's supposedly a wager on the fight as far as putting, I guess, the majority of their money on the line, or I guess Chavez Jr. putting his whole purse on the line in this one. Have you guys heard anything about this? I'll go ahead and start off with Bo on this one.
About what again? I'm sorry.
Canelo and Chavez Jr. and their wager on their fight coming up in May.
You guys know, I've always said, felt, and will always say that Chavez Jr. is a career fuck-up. And I didn't care for this fight, but once I saw that wager, I said, uh-oh, shit just got real. So, and the reason why I say this, and I'm alluding to something that 2K said, is at first I too thought it was a mistake for Chavez to start training so early. But now, by him doing it, and he made this wager, it tells me, okay, he's taking it serious, because even his father said to him, you can lose to whoever you want, but you can't lose to this motherfucker. Because there's a whole lot of Mexicans who aren't really that happy with Canelo with dropping his belt. And Chavez Jr. sees this as his way of becoming the favorite son again that he was once before. So it made it interesting. Now, I did hear something about that, Canelo may have taken back or backed out or something. I remember somebody posted something in Ring IQ that, Canelo is already trying to back out of it. Don't know. But it definitely made it interesting. But I'm at least now more intrigued about the fight, because it does look like Chavez Jr. is taking it very seriously. So we're going to see what happens.
All right. Let me pass it on to Bernard, your partner in crime on this one. What are your thoughts on the whole wager that's going on with that?
Whoever loses is going to be on suicide watch after that fight. I predicted that already, man. I for one, I do agree with both. One of my guys that Jim kept saying is Jose kept saying, yo, I'm telling you right now, watch out for Chavez Jr. I'm like, what you mean? Look, he's coming in slim, and he showed up slim to their media, their press conference and everything. And he's like, yo, I'm telling you, watch him. I'm like, nah. I don't think Chavez. And just looking at it, he's taking it serious. He's slim, he's focused, and he wants to. But like I said, though, somebody is on suicide watch for putting all that money up at the end of that fight. But yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying though, I'm kind of shocked that Chavez Jr. has been very consistent. I think it's actually been beneficial that he started that training camp early, because it allows him to keep that weight down from that previous fight. Because when he looked at the 168, he looked pale, he looked like a zombie, he looked drained, but he still won that fight. But to see him now, I think he'll be to continue on with that progress. I don't think he'll be that hard on him. So when he pretty much, I think what I'm looking at it as, he's going in there and he's trying to keep the weight off before the actual training camp starts. Once the training camp starts, he ain't got to focus on that weight. He can focus working on his skill set and the skills he needs to be Canelo. So I think it's beneficial to him. But other than that, again, I'm going to reiterate this. Somebody's on suicide watch putting all that money up. And then also, too, though, if I'm correct, if he comes a pound over or whatever, each pound is $1 million or whatever, according to the price.
Yeah.
Oh, that motherfucker ain't trying to lose that money. Shit.
Even if he's a half a pound over, he's going to pay a bill. let me bring Stacks back on. He's gonna let us know a little bit more about this wager. I actually saw Chavez Sr. might have said something in the news recently about it as well. But Stacks, what do you know about it as far as the wager?
So what happened was they filmed the Golpes over at the ESPN studios in downtown LA. After they filmed that, and Chavez Sr. went up to Canelo's camp and basically says that he didn't want to wager. It's about ethics. He believed that there was too much politics involved in Vegas, and that one way or the other, his son would end up losing that fight, and didn't want to put that type of money up because of the money. He was scared that that fight might go towards Canelo's direction, that Oscar might have too much pull in Vegas. He didn't want the bet. So the bet is actually off. That wager is actually off. But Chavez is going to come in the best shape of his life. He seriously is. He's training at the Romanza gym in Mexico City. Mexico City is in elevation. It's about 7,000 feet in elevation, and it's probably one of the most polluted cities in the fucking world. I mean, it's horrible. The air up there is horrible, but he's training his ass off out there in the elevation. He's got Nacho in his corner. I know he was turned down by Freddie. He was turned down by Robert Garcia. He wanted Garcia to go down and train him, but Garcia has a stable of about 15 to 20 fighters, and he didn't want to leave the stable, so he ended up going with Nacho. His only two losses are to Fonfara and to Martinez, and you got to figure when he fought Fonfara was probably 185 pounds the night of the fucking fight. Canelo's not going to be that big. Canelo's going to come in the smaller man, and that motherfucker got cement blocks on his fucking feet. He's not going to outbox. He's not going to sit there and pull a fucking Floyd or a Manny and go in and out on fucking Chavez. He's going to end up going toe-to-toe to him, toe-to-toe, and we're going to find out what his chin is fucking made of, if he can actually take a punch. You guys seen what fucking Kirkland did to him in the first two rounds. Kirkland was fucking catching Canelo clean. If he gets hit like that by fucking Chavez might just turn his fucking lights out in those later rounds. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but for Chavez to win, everything's got to be perfect. He's got to come in and shake. He's got to fucking concentrate. He's got to listen to everything fucking Nacho's telling him, and he has a good fucking opportunity to win this fight.
Me and TK were actually talking about this earlier, a couple of days ago in our chat group, as far as calling in for the hype with Chavez being able to win this fight. Let me get your thoughts on Zach's comments, man, as far as strategy and game plan and how he thinks the fight will turn out as far as exchanges.
I mean, I partially agree with what he's saying. One of the bigger things is that he mentioned Canelo's cement feet, which I was a huge pusher of that. I told a lot of people, being down here in Texas, man, there's a huge Mexican fan base down here. I used to try to tell all these Mexicans out here that Canelo ain't got no footwork, man. He's real stagnant, and he can't move unless somebody, cuts or chisels the goddamn cement off his feet. That's the only way he gonna fucking move. But against Miguel Cotto, he actually moved very well in that fight. Liam Smith, I don't count because Liam Smith was in there as a piece of steak any fucking way. Same thing with I'll go to a fighter who just recently fought, Jarrett Hurd against JoJo Dan. A lot of people were like, man, Jarrett Hurd was getting hit too much and da-da-da. Well, he fought like that because JoJo Dan was coming up from 147. You know what I'm saying? He just went in there and pretty much attacked JoJo Dan and walked through his punches. Same thing with Liam Smith. We all know some people out there were dumb in thinking that Liam Smith could actually do something with Canelo, but the real box enthusiasts that actually know how to break down fights and styles, we already fucking knew that Liam Smith had nothing for a Canelo, as well as did Canelo know and Oscar De La Hoya, hence why they even made the fucking fight in the first place. So, the way he fought him is not the way I don't see him fighting Chavez Jr. that way. I see him fighting him the way he fought Miguel Cotto, and that's really Chavez Jr. Pretty much walking his way into counter left and right uppercuts. I see that happening all night long because Chavez Jr. has absolutely no fucking defense. Secondly, Chavez Jr. can be outboxed. I mean, we can go way beyond, and me and Twan talked about this, we can go way beyond Sergio Martinez. We can go down to a guy named Sebastian Zibic, outboxed. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but it was a majority decision win for Chavez Jr., okay? I'm not saying Canelo moves like Zibic, but he has the same arsenal that Zibic has, and he's actually a little better at it as far as his jab, his counterpunching ability, his speed, and his power. The only difference is the movement, but Zibic isn't a world-class mover like, say, Rigo or Erislandy Lara either. And he was able to do this, and this is back when Chavez Jr. was a much better fighter than he is today. So, one thing I will say is, and I dropped a video on my channel a couple of days back where I stated that my co-host mentioned Chavez Jr. back in January trying to already make 164, and at the time we were like, no, that shit's stupid. Now that I think about it, it was actually a great decision because he won't be trying to make the lower weight at the last minute like he did for Dominic British in his last fight where he looked like a fucking skeleton on a Mexican television, okay? But instead, he will be acclimated to the weight, right, doing it months prior, and when the fight actually comes up, his body will already be used to the weight that he's at. Therefore, he shouldn't have the stamina problems that he's had before. He shouldn't have any trouble training for this fight. His body will already be acclimated to that weight. That's one thing I will give him in his favor. I don't think he'll have any weight issues, but still, styles make fights, regardless of the fact that he's going to be in weight for the first time in like 26 years of his fucking life. It doesn't matter. The motherfucker is still have to go in there with the same style, and his style is tailor-made for Canelo's.
What do you think, even with the height advantage, though? You still see it playing out that way?
Doesn't matter because
he does have Nacho in this corner. I don't know if Nacho would necessarily have him in there taking away from that height and reach, But
the main thing Nacho is good at doing, he could teach you how to counter. He could teach you how to use your jab a lot better than what you've been using it. The only thing I expect Chavez Jr. to do going into this fight is to maybe have a more purposeful jab. But the problem with Chavez Jr. is he's tall, right? I think he has a 3-inch reach advantage, if I'm not mistaken. But he fights too close to his opponent. He doesn't fight from the outside. He fights from mid-range distance to inside distance. Also, he crouches. If you watch his fights, he's got kind of a hunch in his back. So that gives up his height, and then him fighting too in close gives up his reach. So there's the answer to your question right there.
Okay, cool. All right, Stacks, thanks for the info on that one. I know you're probably going to chime in on something else we got coming up as well. We're going to move on with the topics. Let's see what we got coming on. Actually, Stacks had touched on this a little bit as well. Looks like Oscar Valdez will be making his mandatory defense against Miguel Marriaga on the card. That would be at StubHub Center. What do you guys think about this fight? The only thing, we've probably only seen Miguel Marriaga a few times. I've seen him on ESPN and, also on the fight against Nicholas Walters. So those are pretty much his two biggest fights as far as anything. What do you guys think of this fight against him and Valdez? I'll start off with Bo.
I'll be honest with you, man. I haven't seen the other guy he's fighting. I've seen Oscar Valdez. Miguel Marriaga, I haven't really seen much of him. Don't really know that much about him. So I'm looking to be surprised and finding out something about him. But I like any fight for Oscar Valdez that's going to give us a chance to see him. Like I said before, he's a champion. I like his upside. I like what he brings to the table. He's one of the younger guys. He's a new champion at 126. And I'm hoping that whoever wins this fight, whether it's him or Mayorga, these guys will start looking to get their names in the mix for unification fights. Because, like we talked about earlier, I don't want Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton to be the talk of 126. We need to get some of the other guys in the mix. So whoever wins this, hopefully they'll be looking to do some unification. That's pretty much all. Because I wish I knew more about Miguel Marriaga. I don't. But I like Oscar Valdez. I think he can compete with some of these guys. He has a decent skill set. He's not the best. I think a guy like Gary Russell probably not only just beat him, but would give him a lot of problems. but I think he can still make some interesting fighting and some interesting moves at 126.
Yeah, I actually think him and Gary Russell are the two best at 126 at the day. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I think they're probably the two best fighters in that division. I know Valdez has talked about trying to unify against them, but you know, we still haven't seen a lot of top ranking PBC interaction, even though they said they were going to that realm of possibilities. Let me go pass it on to 2K. Tell us what you know about Marriaga, the Colombian, I believe. Like I said, we've seen him against Nicholas Walters. You know, a decent performance, you know. He comes with a fight. I kind of think he went in survival mode against Walters once he got, you know, knocked down, but he definitely, he's a game dude. What do you think of him in this fight against Valdez?
He's much like his other countrymen that I don't know if he's still fighting. I can't remember. I think he's still campaigning at cruiserweight, but Edison Miranda. Whereas there's a lot of big power in his punches. There's not a lot of defense. He, like you said, once you get hit, they kind of bow out of the fight. This is exactly what happened with Edison Miranda whenever he fought Kelly Pavlik and others. So whenever, based on what I see, man, Oscar Valdez should run away with this one. This shouldn't be too much of a task. One thing I will say is Valdez needs to be wary of overimposing himself. That's one thing that he tends to do. He gets in the zone and he starts imposing his will on his opponent, coming forward with absolutely no defense. Marriaga actually stands back and is able to bait him into doing that and then catches him with a nice right hand. He could possibly hurt Valdez and put him on the canvas. And then we will be in a situation where we'll have to gauge whether or not Valdez can overcome adversity, which is something that he needs to actually go through at this point in his career, especially being a WBO champion. So, but if that doesn't happen, this will be another breakdown of a fighter by Oscar Valdez, in my opinion.
All right, Big Cool. Bernardi, did you got an opinion on this one? Big Cool?
Valdez should win. I don't know if he'll stop Marriaga, but or however you pronounce his name, because I think he was the distance with Walters.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, you know, he'll outbox him with a clean, unanimous decision, but it's a fight that he should win, but it'll be a good fight.
All right, what about you, Bernard? Any last takes on this one?
Oh, no, I mean, I agree with the panel, man. Valdez is going in for the win.
All right, and he's definitely had somewhat of a resurgence since going with Manuel Robles. I like a lot of the things he's implemented in this game, you know what I'm saying, as far as offensively since joining Manuel Robles' stable in Carlson, California. We're going to go ahead and go into our next topic right now. It's looking like we got an IBF Super Middleweight title eliminator. Who actually holds that belt right now? Andre Ward, right? The IBF?
James
DeGale. No. 168, my bad. I'm tripping. 168.
James DeGale.
Okay, James DeGale. Okay, so this would be IBF title eliminator to face him between Andre Dirrell and Jose Uzcategui. Definitely an interesting fight. What do you guys think of it as far as I guess DeGale is injured right now, so telling what's really his status and how soon this will happen. But what do you guys think of this fight as far as it being for the title eliminator? And definitely for Andre Dirrell to have a chance to get a rematch. That's the biggest thing right there. So let me go ahead and start it off with Bernard on this one.
I thought you was going to start off with other Andre Dirrell fan on 2K, but I'll take this one. Hey, I'm a fan for it. I'm going to be biased on this one. I'm going to be honest. I'm going with Andre Dirrell, the resurrected man. I feel like once he gets through him, he'll have his chance to prove and get that world title that he wants. And I mean, we saw how he beat against DeGale in the first fight, and we also know how DeGale is. He starts off the first 6 rounds, putting it on and everything, then he wavers the next 6 rounds. I'm pretty sure. I think he'll look at the tape from the Badu Jack fight against him and DeGale. I mean, DeGale and Jack fought. Look at the tape of him and DeGale, and he'll probably come with a better game plan on how to fight DeGale, and I think he'll get the win on that one. But as for this fight, I'm going with Dirrell, man. There ain't nothing else to say about that. Hey, I'll pass it to 2K, though. Let him break it down.
Well, I mean, I fucked up his name, and we did a video on this already, but Jose Uzcategui. That's what I think it is. Now I'm just going to call the motherfucker Jose from now on.
Hey, I tried, man. I don't even think Bo could have got that one. And, you know, he speaks Spanish, so.
Right. But he's a decent fighter, man. You know, nice little, you know, C+ level fighter. Nice fighter for Andre Dirrell to come back to. You know what I'm saying? You know, get him up out of there and try to get that rematch with James DeGale. Jose's only lost one fight, and that was to Matt Korobov, who we all know lost to Andy Lee in his recent big fight. So, but he's still a couple levels under where we would like Andre Dirrell to be. And what I mean by that is, if we look at Andre Dirrell and we look at his skill set and we say, this motherfucker should be champion right now, or at least,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, or at least be a contender getting ready to fight for a belt, right? But what he's been doing, we can only put him at B-level status. But the status that his potential says he's supposed to be at is levels above Jose. So I don't see him being in trouble in this fight. He does have a suspect chin. If he starts feeling himself, which this is something Andre Dirrell does. A lot of people don't talk about this. He starts feeling himself in the ring, meaning he becomes complacent in the ring, and he can get touched with shots he shouldn't be getting touched with. The perfect example was the James DeGale fight early in that fight. He can get touched with shots he shouldn't get touched with. He was getting touched by Carl Froch, a fight I thought he won, of course, Andre Dirrell, but he could have made that shit look easier than he did. You know what I'm saying? Than it was. Jose has a big punch. He's 26-1 with 22 knockouts. He could touch Andre Dirrell. If Andre Dirrell becomes complacent, that's the only thing that I'm worried about. But other than that, man, yeah, he should go ahead and get him out of there, and we should be looking for a rematch with James DeGale.
Yeah, and Dirrell has been down in recent fights, I believe, as well. But still came out to win unanimous decisions. And also, that was what I heard him in the DeGale fight. Knockdowns.
Shout out to Sister Eloise.
Oh, shit.
Little Mel LaRue. Yes. Let me pass it on to the rest of the panel on this one as far as, let me see if they got any thoughts on it as far as Dirrell versus DeGale in a rematch. How do you guys see a rematch playing out? Because it's obvious he will be the favorite in this fight going against Jose. So during that he wins the fight, how do you guys see a rematch playing out between him and DeGale? Let me go ahead and get Bo's take on this one.
Well, provided Andre Dirrell get past Jose Uzcategui, don't ever doubt my skills, nigga. Real talk, I was going to mute pronouncing that shit letter for letter. I was going to mute pronouncing that shit letter for letter. But provided we get past him. I actually am interested in a rematch between DeGale and Andre Dirrell. My only issue with Andre Dirrell is he's got to fight more. He's fighting, once a year? Yeah. He's got to fight. Yeah, he's got to fight a lot more. But that's my only issue. But I'm very interested in that fight because he knows what he did wrong against DeGale, And 2K, you know as well as I do, when the fighter knows what he did wrong in the fight, it's better for him going into the rematch because he knows what to work on in training camp. He's not going in training camp clueless. He's not going in training camp, figuring out what happened and trying to blame people. Once he knows what he did wrong, it's better mentally. It's better for him mentally going into training camp. So I'm actually intrigued by that. Now somebody said he's resurrected. I hope that's true because like I said, he needs to be more busier in the ring, And I agree with 2K. He should be Andre Dirrell should be a 2-time champion. He should be a 2-time champion. He should be the guy that we're talking about. Him and he should be. When I first saw Dirrell, but when I first saw him, I thought these two dudes, outside of Andre Ward, I said, hey, once Andre Ward left, these dudes are going to rule the division. And that's really what I thought. So he definitely needs to fight more. I am very intrigued about him fighting James DeGale. I think by him knowing what he did wrong and by seeing what Bandu Jack did to DeGale, he knows, okay, I know what to do and come in with a game plan. So it would be very interesting to see that. My biggest issue is what happens going forward because I don't know, and we keep bringing this up, I don't know if Bob Arams would be eager to throw Gilberto Ramirez in there with one of these guys right now.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. I don't see it happening. They're leaning more towards trying to get Gennady in, even to come up from 160 more than anything else. I don't see them trying to do anything as far as unifying against the 168 guys, but we'll see. I definitely think it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Like I said, Top Rank and PBC are supposedly able to do business together now. We haven't necessarily seen many examples of it yet, so hopefully they still come together on it. We did see Terrence Crawford against John Molina, but we haven't seen too many other examples. So we'll keep an eye out on that situation with future fights as far as getting unification at 168. Let's go on to our next topic. One of 2K's favorite fighters, Jose Pedraza, moving up to 35 after his knockout loss to Gervonta Tank Davis a couple weeks back, and he's eyeing the Robert Easter Jr. fight.
He's doing what?
135.
He's doing what? He's what?
I guess Bo has something he'd like to throw out there. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on, man. I know I'm up there in age, and sometimes my hearing, especially when my wife and kids are talking to me, ain't right. But what did you say? You said Jose Pedraza is doing what? Looking to fight who?
Hey, Bo, your hearing ain't bad because you heard me talk about it already on my channel. So this is the second time you heard it. It ain't bad.
He's going to 135, and he wants to target Robert Easton Jr. I get him motherfucker style points. I mean, if you're going to go out big, right? I guess, if you're going to go out big. I mean, I don't know what the fuck wrong with
go out big. Let me go. Hey, Big Cool. What you think about this move for Pedraza moving up to 135? He was actually one of the on the tall side for 130, I guess. Big guy for 130, so I don't think the weight will be an issue. But he was just knocked out by Tank Davis. So how do you see him as far as his prospects at 135? Will he be a contender, or do you see that?
No, he won't be a contender. I mean, he simply won't. And I give him props for trying to fight one of the best at the lightweight division, but he's not gonna mess with Robert Easter. Too much difference in skill, height, reach, power, speed, athleticism. It's just a bad matchup. But I don't see him bowling well against the other top guys in the lightweight division. You can't deal with Tank and not to knock Tank because he's still a growing fighter. You're not gonna be able to deal with the other guys up there. But props to him for wanting to fight him. You know, we need a lot more guys that had that attitude of wanting to fight. They got, fight the top guys in the division. So, but a potential fight with Robert Easter Jr. is bad news for him. Just stylistically, he's at a disadvantage. And, if I was Easter Jr., I'd jump at the opportunity, to make that fight happen, although Pedraza doesn't bring anything to the table. He's not a champion. He's not a big name draw. He doesn't bring big money, but still, somebody calling you out and you don't have anything else on the horizon, so I take it and stay busy.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the same dude that claimed he was upset that he wasn't being talked to enough and Heyman wasn't answering his calls?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm Al Heyman, this is what I'm doing. Shoot me the ass. Take care of my trash.
Oh, man.
Bernard, you got anything you want to add on this move by Pedraza?
Oh, man, that's suicide right there. I mean, Tank beat his ass out the division. And I'm just saying, Tank, took your IBF so you can say, hey, I'm going to go up if you get the next IBF. Hey, I'm going to say this, man. Two things are going to happen, dog. Robert Easter's going to beat his ass and send him right back to 130.
Yeah.
Or if he's at 135, he's going to end up being the Gabriel Rosado of that division. Just, hey, I'll fight anybody and just going to keep taking L's, man. That's what I said about AJ Granados, man. Terry Crawford, when they want to throw him against, he's going to be there. I'm telling you, I like Big Cool said, I give you props going, trying to go for the top guys. But that's a suicide mission. It's not only just that, that's career suicide. Just in my opinion.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think he goes well against any of the 135 champs. None of them.
I would have, you know what?
Lenard,
I would have respected Pedraza more if he would have said, I want a rematch against Tank and try to fight him again, but instead of trying to fight that bullshit style he fought that night, try to fight him differently and see what will happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have been a better thing, but to say you want to go up the next division to fight a Robert Easter Jr., oh, man.
Let me pass it on to TK, man. What are your thoughts about him moving up in weight? Do you think that's a bad sign for his career, or just a bad move?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate my decision that this is a bad move. Let's go through the list real quick. The new champion at 135 pounds, Jorge Linares, L. Mikey Garcia, extreme L. Terry Flanagan, L. Robert Easter, extreme L. He might be able to beat Anthony Crolla. That motherfucker's garbage to me. Denis Shafikov, he's not good at whenever a fighter is applying nonstop pressure. He doesn't know how to respond to that. So L to him. Sharif Boguer, possible L. Richard Comey, L. Felix Verdejo, that's who we should probably look at fighting, but they're both Puerto Ricans.
That is a good fight right there.
He won't fight him.
Right.
Puerto Ricans, he won't fight him, okay? Dewan Zlatacanin, he might lose that fight because of the pressure. Peter Petrov, L.
Yeah.
So that's
definitely L.
So out of 10 fighters, there's 2 that he could possibly beat without a question at lightweight at 135. So now with that said, right.
He beat Hurd. Either Red Cash L, Kevin Farmer, super fucking L.
Willie D. What's the dude named Billy D. or whatever that when he lost to Gradovich, he moved up and thought he was gonna be able to do something.
Billy Dibb. Billy Dibb.
Billy Dibb.
Yeah.
That's what Pedraza
What's the dude name that was in the chat room that came on?
Stats.
Yeah, Stats said even Beltran gives him the L.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
yeah. Ray Beltran.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Definitely. I mean, this is stupid. And him trying to say, I mean, one of the articles that I read, what it said verbatim was that they were looking at Robert Easter Jr., but more so a top. They said they have a list of 5 fighters, and they're all 5 guys are top 135-pound fighters with winning records. That's what was said verbatim. So I mean,
you take that for what it's worth, huh? But you named 10 of them already.
Exactly.
He took some things, man. Fucked them up, Joe, for real. Fuck his whole head.
That's what I meant. But that's what I meant. If I'm Al Heyman, I'd be like, yo, you did all that talking, yo, Dennis. Shop for
got a good ass comment. Stack said let him fight Hank Lundy. You know what I'm saying? That's actually not a bad one.
At 135?
Yeah, that's actually not a bad fight right there.
Can Hank make 135?
That is the question.
Yeah.
Hank beat his ass too then.
Yeah, he's been fighting that one. He fought 135 recently.
Oh, he did? I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah. After the Crawford fight, he thought 140 was too much for him and said he 135.
Okay.
So that's definitely that's not a bad one right there. I guess we're gonna go into start our previews for the weekend. We got Shinsuke Yamanaka taking on Carlos Carlson, defending his WBC Bantam title. My bad. Let me go ahead and take it to 2K, man. Break this one down for us.
Well, I don't have much to break down, man. Shinsuke Yamanaka is a beast, man. What motherfuckers don't understand about him is that he's been dominant for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? And I think how do I put it? Like, he's one of them fighters that goes under the radar. You know what I'm saying? And it's mainly because the division he's in is 118 pounds. A lot of people don't go below 130, really. You know what I'm saying? And these are guys that try to say that they're actual boxing enthusiasts. But the fact that he's been so dominant for so long, the fights in Japan, Carlos Carlson, while I believe he's a good fighter, there's some things that he needs to work on, and then the main thing is his experience, man. He needs to gain more experience. I think his only loss was like early in his career, like his second pro fight or some shit like that. His first fight, yeah. But since then, I mean, he hasn't really fought, too many guys of note. I would say more of the C and B level opposition at that weight. So basically, come March 2nd, he's gonna get a learning lesson from one of the top guys in the sport. You know what I'm saying? That's basically.
Yamanaka's coming off of his KF victory of another one of my favorite guys.
Hey man, leave him alone. Hey bro, I don't want to talk about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if the listeners who don't know, Anselmo Moreno was one of my favorite fighters back in 2000. Yeah. Abner Mares fucked that up for me, and Shinsuke Yamanaka really fucked it up for me in September of last year. So, but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Carlson is a step down from So I don't
definitely.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, I said a while back that that's something I think I said Rigo should look at that, maybe going down to 118 and fighting Yamanaka.
That's a good one right there. I like that.
Remember, I said that a while back. I said he go to Japan and fight Yamanaka.
Rigo actually could probably make the weight too. They say he walks around small. I'm pretty sure Rigo could make 118.
Dwan, trust me, he can. He can.
Because I know he comes in under 122, so I'm pretty sure that would actually be a good move for him, and he could claim a second divisional title. Have we seen anything like that before? Somebody actually moving down after winning the title in the higher division?
Yeah, Omar. Didn't Omar Narvaez do that?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He sure did.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So that'd definitely be an incredible feat and probably something.
After he got the shit beat out of him by him.
Yeah. You already know.
Yeah.
Boxing at 17 weight divisions, people.
Yep.
But that actually would be a good move. Something I don't know if Rock Nation will look into it. They be bagging their horses on everything, so it's definitely something they should look into, man. Making that fight at 118.
Let me get everybody else's thoughts on this fight. Bo, you want to continue on, chime in anything else as far as prediction of the fight?
The Yamanaka fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody is going to go into the ring with a dream, and they're going to actually see their dreams come true from the fucking canvas. They'll be laying on their back, looking up at the ceilings, looking at their dream come true.
Let me pass it on to Stacks. I know you know a little something about Carlson as well. Stacks, welcome back, man. What you got to say about this one as far as Yamanaka?
Yeah, I agree with Bo 100%, man. Seen Carlson fight quite a few times. He fights at the DoubleTree out here in Ontario. He's a club fighter. He fights at a motel under the Thompson Banner promotion. He just won the NABF title, so he won like a little regional title. He didn't really look too good doing it against really a no-name guy out of Mexico. And he's gonna get outclassed. I think he lasts 4, maybe 5 rounds the most. He stays wide open. He takes a lot of punches, way too many punches. He's a come-forward fighter. So he'll probably put some pressure on Yamanaka, but it's nothing that Yamanaka hasn't seen before. It's going to be lights out for Carlson. I hate to say it, he's a good kid, but it's just he's going to be way outclassed. And I think the WBC could have went a different direction with it. Maybe gave Carlson a few other fights, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Definitely. Big Cool, anything you want to add? I know you just now starting to get into the lower weights. We've been covering, some of the stuff. We've actually talked about the Yamanaka Moreno fight before on one of our earlier podcasts. What do you think about this fight? Or as far as the 118 division in general, we just had ZZ, take on, or what was that? Birashi Warren. In win a title. What do you guys think about that fight right there, ZZ and Yamanaka possibly?
I think Yamanaka. I only seen really Yamanaka and Rasheed Warren. I really still have to catch up, but Yamanaka should win this fight. He beat my boy Marino wrong in the rematch, but like I said, he should win this fight. And let the best fight the best.
Let me get 2K's opinion on that ZZ Yamanaka. What do you think about a fight like that, man?
Man, first of all, Rasheed Warren is still an amateur fighter. So
damn, 2K.
I was never big on Rasheed Warren. Never big on Rasheed Warren. I thought he lost both fights to fucking Juan Carlos Payano. Like too many mistakes. And that ZZ fight, I'm not gonna break it all the way down because we already did it on a different segment, but. In that fight, man, you clearly saw how he has absolutely no way to respond to too much pressure from a fighter. You knocked the guy, and like I talked about earlier, a guy who is winning handedly and then ends up losing, you know what I'm saying, that tells you that he doesn't know how to adjust and he may have a low IQ. Same with Rasheed Warren. You knock him down in the first round, you know what I'm saying, it looks as if, like, damn, you about to beat the dust off this motherfucker. ZZ gets up and does exactly the same fucking thing he had been doing that caused him to get the knockdown, but for some odd reason, Rasheed has no answer for it. You see what I'm saying? So, with that said, Rasheed is still an amateur. We're talking about an amateur fighter, all right, and then a goddamn pound-for-pound fighter who's been dominant at 118 pounds for a very long time. Shinsuke Yamanaka makes easy work of him, fam. No doubt.
Just definitely be to see. I think I'd definitely like to see the fight sometime. Probably a couple of fights down the line for him. Be a nice unification. I guess we're gonna go into our next preview, man. Pretty Ricky is what they call him. Tony Bellew versus David Haye. Yeah. Bellew dropped his WBC Cruiserweight title to take this cash out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to call it Take This Cash Out versus Haye. Already been war of words between them for years. Let me go ahead and I'll let Bo start on this one, man.
No, the fuck you not. No, the fuck you not.
Oh, you got a problem with haymakers? You got a problem with haymakers?
Hey, he said he's not gonna
Bernard,
start
go ahead, Bernard. Yeah, so go ahead, Bernard.
Wow. Pretty Ricky versus David Haye, man.
Lord.
Huh?
I think go ahead, Bernard. Chime in on this one.
Man.
We're doing previews right now.
I know it's a preview of the fight. I mean, what can we break down of this fight? I'm just break it down on in a casual way. Break it down casual, and then we'll pass it over to the analytical cat. This is a grudge match between two guys, so I'm expecting to see a lot of haymakers, right hooks, left hooks, uppercut. I don't see this fight lasting that long, and I believe I say mid-round stoppage for David Haye. That's my preview on the fight. This is probably, I would suggest, the casual fight that everybody should watch. If you're a casual fan, watch this fight right here. Stream it legally. However you can. Try to get to watch the fight. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's going to be nothing but hard-hitting, hard punches thrown, because these two guys got a legitimate beef against each other. Plain and simple.
All right. Big Cool, you want to chime in on this one as far as how you see playing out, how long it's going to last?
Yeah, I guess it's going to last. However long David Haye decides to let it last. I can't stand this motherfucker. I wish he would stay retired or hurt himself from training.
Hell yeah.
This motherfucker this motherfucker will talk his way into a big fight and not do shit, then make excuses about pinky toe, or he'll talk shit to motherfuckers that's inferior to him. Goddamn, hitting motherfuckers over the head with glass. This dude's a pussy, man. I know it's hard to say you call him a pussy, a boxer. No, I ain't never seen a guy avoid.
I have no problem doing that.
I ain't never seen a guy avoid goddamn top competition and pick up. This dude is a bully, for real. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker a bully. I hope Bellew win. I know he not, but I can't stand David Haye, man. That motherfucker talk too much and don't fight nobody. This nigga is the worst motherfucker to ever grace the heavyweight division with talent and potential. So, man, I hope he's going to lose, man. But I know he's going to win, and then he's going to call out Anthony Joshua, and then he's going to end up fighting fucking Marco Huck or somebody. So, I don't know, man. This motherfucker.
He said Marco Huck.
Yeah.
Marco Huck, IBF Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah. He going to fight Marco Huck or call out Steve Cunningham or might call out 2K or somebody he think he can beat up.
Oh, I'll take that fight in a heartbeat. I'll take that fight. It's going to be a street fight, though. That ain't going to be no boxing match. That's a street fight.
So on 2K, what are your thoughts on how this fight going to play out, man? Bellew stepping up to the heavyweight division. Taking on haymakers.
Bro, come on, man. Like, how you said, how's this fight going to play out? Come on. I'm not going to answer that question. Basically, this is what it is, man. You know, David Haye is supposed to be fighting Shannon Briggs right now. You know, actually, the Shannon Briggs fight was supposed to have already happened back in last October, as far as what he said and what he promised Shannon Briggs, okay?
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to fight the nigga Arnold Jibber Jabber. I'm going to fight him, you know what I'm saying? And then you're going to fight on the undercard of that fight. If we both win, we fight in October. Yeah, all of a sudden, he's fighting Tony Bellew in March. What the fuck is this shit? Tony Bellew is a light fucking heavyweight, damn it. He got knocked out by fucking Adonis Stevenson. Why are we watching him fight a heavyweight, fam? Like, David Haye is a natural cruiserweight, but he has not been at cruiserweight, since fucking 2008? He hasn't been at cruiserweight since 2008 when he knocked out Enzo Macronelli. So, why are we watching him fight a cruiserweight? And why is everybody okay with this bullshit? This is what I'm talking about, dog. David Haye, bro, like what Big Cool said. My man need to find a way to get re-injured and retire. For some reason, he seems to think that he's still on his comeback trail, even though he's fought 2 fights since 2012. He seems to think he's still making a comeback. Okay, dude has too many skills that make fights intriguing at the heavyweight level for him to be fighting cruiserweights. I want to see David Haye fight Deontay Wilder. I want to see David Haye fight Anthony Joshua. He's talking a lot of shit about Anthony Joshua, but, you know, he doesn't seem to be taking strides to get that fight made. Okay.
He's scary, man. He's scary, bro. He's scary.
I think well, you got to understand what happened to him against Vladimir Klitschko, dog. This nigga had a campaign, you know, of a bunch of followers, you know, following his lead as he's talking shit to both Klitschko brothers simultaneously, dog. And then he goes in there and lays a fucking egg. Gets beat every goddamn round. He ain't trying to get embarrassed like that again. That's obvious to me. So that's why he's picking and choosing who the fuck he's going to fight.
I'd rather him get embarrassed. I'd rather, not to cut you off, I'd rather him get embarrassed, getting knocked out against somebody credible than fight these motherfuckers.
And I agree. And another thing you got to add in there, another variable that we're not even mentioning, is the fact that he's already explained that the only reason why he's coming back to boxing is for the money. He's already said that. Because when he lost to Vladimir Klitschko in 2011, who did he fight next? Derek Chisora. Then he was on a 4-year layoff. And in that 4-year layoff, he was like, I'm done with boxing. Then he comes back and says, well, there's a lot of money fights on the table. That's all he cares about.
That's exactly it. In the UK, he's gonna get the money he wants, you know, fighting Bellew. He's gonna get the money. The UK fans are gonna pay for it. You know, if you guys get a chance on YouTube, Behind the Ropes 1 and 2, Behind the Ropes 1 and 2 with Bellew and Haye. That's a good little series. It's kind of like our 24/7.
I watched it.
He's out there on a fucking boat, on a yacht, drinking champagne, training on a boat. David Haye is, you know, just clowning the fuck out of Bellew. You know, Bellew's in his garage working out, whatnot, but I see it the same way, man. I think David Haye will fucking end up knocking him out 6th, 7th round. You know, I just don't think Bellew has the fucking power. He's not going to be able to take Haye's power. And
it's definitely a fight where it's low risk, high reward for David Haye, and that's the only type of fights he's looking for, man. Real talk.
And let's not forget this. This is actually a co-promotion between him and Richard Schaefer, I believe. Their first joint venture. So, you know, Haye is making the promoter money as well on top of, you know, shamming us with shit like this. So he knows the promoter. He knows the promoter game already.
He's gonna beat Bellew on his way walking back to his dressing room. He's gonna stub the toe that he hurt against Klitschko, retire, and fight cancer.
That's what he was talking about on his Twitter, man. He was talking about when he made that tweet. He was like, "All right, I got a big announcement soon. You know, my next fight," and everybody was like, "Oh shit, yeah, who David Haye fighting?" This motherfucker tweets, "Cancer, dumb motherfucker, sit your bitch ass down, nigga." He's trying to see that shit, man.
That's some attention-seeking horse shit, man.
Yeah.
You don't, man.
I hate that nigga. I hope this nigga
We're
fucking sprain his ankle during the fight.
To our next fight card series, or our next card breakdown. This one is actually the big one going down next week. So we're going to start off with the undercards, though, breaking those down. Andres Fafar making his return to the ring, first fight under Virgil Hill as his trainer full-time.
Hunter.
Virgil Hunter, my bad. Man, why I always do that? Anyways, he'll be taking on Bad Chad Dawson, man. I'll go ahead and start it off with Bo on this one. Is there anything left in Chad Dawson? How do you see this one playing out, man?
This is a tough one, man. Is there anything left in Chad Dawson? You know, there's a time in boxing where it's such a cruel sport that you try to be nice to fighters. Then there's a time when you realize being nice to fighters isn't being real to the fighter and not helping the fighter. Whoever loses this fight, whether it's Fafar or Chad Dawson, the loser, go home. Go the fuck home. You're done. It's over. No more. Go home. That's it. Go home. Go home or accept the fact that you're just going to be a gateway fighter for those guys moving up. Because from Fada, it's not as bad for him as it is for Chad Dawson. From Fada lost because he just made a dumb mistake when he thought he had Joe Smith hurt. But he goes to Virgil Hunter. He switches and goes to Virgil Hunter. Chad Dawson, this is the guy who everybody had high hopes for. This is the guy who was on the happy trail. And, man, he loses to Andre Ward, get washes by Adonis Stevenson, and the motherfucker just vanished. Like, real talk, he just fucking vanished. Okay? So he's coming back. He's fighting from Fada. Me personally, the loser of this fight, just go home. Just go home. And even really the winner, I don't see much for the winner in that division, especially if you're talking about the upper echelon. So, I'm not even gonna waste my time picking somebody. Fuck it, just some Fada. Fuck it, whatever. Shit, it don't matter.
I mean, so I'm wondering if this was just made as a comeback fight after. Was there any serious intention to it? Personally, like I don't think it was made with.
I think from Fada it was some serious. I think from Fada it's with some serious intention. I don't know about Chad Dawson.
Yeah, because Chad actually lost. Well, last time I seen him and stuff,
he lost the decision.
Yeah, and he was talking about they want him out the game and all kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I don't think this is necessarily a.
That's what I'm saying. Whoever loses, if it's him, retire, man. Retire. If you lose to Fada, especially if you get knocked out by Fada, that's it, dog. Give it up.
I think he should retire either way it goes, especially Chad. I think Fada got a little love, but I think Chad should look at this as his, his going out party or whatever. I mean, he ain't gonna look at it that way, but I think he should, go and wrap it up, call it a career, win, lose or draw Saturday night.
All right, let me pass it on to TK. Is there anything to break down here?
Nah, man, it's just exactly what Bo said. It's just really a situation where what Chad Dawson are we going to see, man? We're going to see the one that was scared to throw a punch against Tommy Carpenter. Now, I don't know why he was scared to throw a punch. There's really nothing Tommy Carpenter can do. He's not an elite boxer. He's not an elite counterpuncher. He doesn't apply elite pressure. I don't know what the fuck Chad Dawson was doing in the ring that night. And he talking about, they're trying to get me out of boxing. Well, nigga, you actually lost that fight because on my scorecard I had you losing as well. So, I mean, I don't know, man. If he goes in there as that Chad Dawson, this is an easy fight for Fonfara, even though he's coming off of a loss, knockout loss to Joe Smith Jr. So I agree with Bo, man. Whoever loses this fight, let me just put it this way. If it's a good fight, both fighters went in there. They executed a very good, thought up strategy by their trainers, and it turns into a good fight and manifests into a good fight. Then I won't say both of them should retire, win or lose. But if the loser gets thoroughly outclassed, they need to go ahead and think about wrapping it up.
I'm actually
this could be like Rodriguez and what's the guy named Polish guy, Wallach, Polish, whatever the name. They follow ESPN. It could turn into we get a gem. So hopefully we get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of wrinkles Fonfara has added to his game since joining the Virgil Hunter camp. So that's probably what I'll be paying attention more than, the actual fight itself. I think Chad is on his last legs or should have hung him up already, honestly. But, who knows what the situation is, man. But, hopefully everything turns out all right. Both fighters come out safe. Chad Dawson suffers knockouts. Fonfara is coming off a knockout loss, so let's just hope both of them can turn out to end up the fight safe and on their feet. At the end of it, that's going to lead us to another breakdown for a WBC title eliminator at a super welterweight. Erickson Lubin facing Jorge Cota, and I guess the co-main event of the evening. A lot of people have been asking.
are begging for Lubin to step up his competition, which I think he's fighting in the title eliminator, so he's doing what he can do on his end. And he'll be facing the winner of Charlo versus Hadley, sometime down the line as a new mandatory if he wins. So let me go ahead and start off with TK on this one, man. Break this one down as far as the keys of victory for Lubin. How do you see this fight playing out?
Erickson, first of all, okay, regardless of what we just seen with Jarrett Hurd becoming the IBF champion, Erickson Lubin is by far the better of the two in terms of prospects. Of course, we can't say Hurd is a prospect any longer since he's a champion, but it was baffling to me, and I was telling my co-host this the other day, it was baffling to me how they were pushing the hell out of Jarrett Hurd and making Erickson Lubin continue to fight these C and D level fighters. The roles should have been switched. Erickson Lubin should have been taking on the JoJo Dans and the fucking Tony Harrisons en route to a title. With Jorge Cota, man, there's nothing Jorge Cota does that will trouble Erickson Lubin. Cota his only losses to Marco Antonio Rubio. And he's actually a bigger guy. He campaigned the majority of his career at 160, 168 pounds, and he's moved down. He's moved in between these weights his entire career, but he's naturally a bigger guy. But Erickson Lubin is just so fucking gifted technically, places his punches very well. He's got a very high ring IQ, which is probably why niggas don't want to fight him right now. So I don't see any problems in this fight. I expect him to get him out of there just like he's been getting everybody else out of there, man. I say he wins, and it's a 12-round fight. I think he gets him out of there in 10.
All right. I'll pass over to Big Pooh on this one as well. What's your thoughts on this fight and the prospects for Lubin moving forward, facing the possible winner of Hadley and Charlo?
I mean, he should win. He has the power. He's a better fighter. He's young. But it's time for him to step up his competition. I feel like he's been fighting for the longest at this same level. And I don't think, even though with him becoming a mandatory, I think his handlers should push that as far back as they can, because I don't believe he'll be ready for Jamel. Now, if Hadley wins, I think take that fight. But if it's Jamel, which we all know it will be, I think that he still needs some seasoning. He needs to gradually step up his competition. Maybe he can fight an Oscar Molina, or maybe a Tony Harrison, sometime down the line before he
Willie Nelson. Or Willie Nelson,
or Willie Nelson, or Willie Nelson, or Vance Martirosyan, or whoever it may be. But I don't think he's ready for Jamel. But he definitely needs to step up his competition, because I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I'm iffy on him. He got potential, but I'm not sure if he's everything, because I kind of seen progression, from him. But like I said, only time will tell, and only way we're gonna find out if he's the real deal if he step up his competition to fight somebody at least on his level. Until then, these question marks, and we just have to wait and see. But he should win this Saturday night, and hopefully, he puts on an impressive performance in doing so.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there as far as them needing to be patient as far as pushing the Charlo fight if he's the winner of the Charlo-Hadley fight, which we're all predicting he will. I definitely think that's maybe something that's too soon for Lubin. So I definitely agree with your point there. I'll pass it on to Bo first before we get to his partner in crime. What are your thoughts on that as well as far as his prospects after this title eliminator, Bo?
Oh, man, I think listen, I was always high on Erickson Lubin. I actually was higher on Erickson Lubin than I was on Jarrett Hurd. I definitely feel that this is a really good fight for him. Going forward, it's a lot of good fights for him. Going forward, it's a lot of good fights for him. So it's going to be interesting to see. Listen, he has, like 2K said, he has good ring intelligence. His skill set level is very, very high. Like some of the troubles we actually saw Jarrett Hurd having problems even with Tony Harrison. Lubin wouldn't have those problems. He adjusts very well. He counters very well. He has good footwork. So I've always thought that, you know, there should have been more attention focused on Erickson Lubin than Jarrett Hurd. But, you know, moving forward, man, I like the potential and everything that's going on here with Lubin.
Do you think it'd be too soon for him to be fighting Charlo? No, and I'm gonna tell you why. If he was fighting Jamal, I would have some reservations. But he's fighting Jamel.
But see, I'm gonna jump in and say Jamel has shown the ability to be a special fighter, and I give him a pass for that. You know, that performance against Jackson. You know, first fight with Derrick James. You know, if he underperforms, you know, in a couple of weeks against Hadley, then, you know, we have to reassess our standing on that. But if he's the guy that fought Rosado and Martirosyan, the majority of that fight, I think you have to say, okay, hold on, because a lot of people thought Jamel was the better, you know, fighter, myself included. Not me, but a lot of people thought Jamel was the better fighter. But he definitely has to have a performance, a great performance coming off of that lackluster performance against Jackson for people to, you know, feel, you know, great about him again. But if he struggles, I still feel that Lubin should, you know, have a fight or two before, you know, he jumps right in there, because just because you have the skill, you've never been in that position, you know, and then it's for a title. So, I mean, you just got to take your time with that.
All right. Anybody else want to follow up on what Big Cool said? Bernard?
I mean, I agree with the majority of the points of the panel. I'm picking Lubin too. As for him fighting who he should get afterwards, I would say give him possibly a contender before he fights Jamel Charlo. I don't think it would be a bad thing just to see where he's at, you know, to see how he can handle that. I'm gonna be honest. Be cool. You mentioned Martirosyan. Ain't no way in hell I think right now at this point in time Martirosyan is going to step into a ring with any of Al Haymon's fighters because he continued to take L's to him. Right. Even though he was under Al Haymon, I don't think Martirosyan is going to take that threat. Don't get me wrong. I got Lubin winning that fight, but I got Lubin taking him out too in the later rounds. So I
was just throwing his name out there because he always come to fight, and he'll definitely, you know, we're just trying to see what Lubin at for real.
That's a good opponent to measure Lubin up against, definitely. Vanez Martirosyan.
I agree with that part, but I just don't think Martirosyan. I think it's like he wants to blame Al Haymon for his losses, and then if you take the L to him, he's going to continue to blame Al Haymon and not himself. So I agree. I agree with that, but as for this master Martirosyan, no. I digress on that part. But as for Lubin. 2K said, you said 10 within the 10th. You said he get him out?
Yeah.
I'm going 8.
I definitely think Lubin is definitely a talent, you know, a very talented fighter. You can see that in him. I think he gets in these laws where he gets bored in the ring, or he seems to get lackadaisical at times. Like I don't know if it's too easy for him or what. You know, he has a very accomplished amateur background, so you know, like this is a natural for him. He's a very gifted fighter. I can see him take shots that he doesn't need to take at times. So stepping up in competition, that's something I like to see him be focused. You know, that's kind of why I want to see him in there against somebody of note. You know, that we can really.
What about Trout?
That's a good fight too.
Yeah, even the Trout is probably a real hard one for him.
I think that's too much for him.
Yeah, he's gonna make him think in the ring. You know, Trout even gave
Jamal
trouble.
I thought he beat Jamal.
Yeah. So you know, he's definitely that's a super caliber veteran right there. You know, with a lot of experience and can make him think. But you know, it might even be a tougher fight than Jermell, honestly, a Trout right now. You know, just on the mental capacity in the ring. So yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes panned out on that one as far as what happens with Lubin and how long they stretch out his mandatory status before putting him in there against Jermell. we gonna go into the main event of the evening at the Barclays, man. The one that everybody's been, I guess, clamoring for, talking about. We got Danny Garcia defending his WBC title, putting it on the line against Keith Thurman, who's putting his Super WBA welterweight title on the line, man. Unification belt, we like these. This is what we like in boxing, so no complaints here, on that level. With that said, man, I'm going to let 2K break this one down and give his prediction, man. We all going on wax with this. So go ahead, 2K.
Well, I'm not going to break it down, man, because I'm pressed for time, but I'm not going to break it down to the white meat. But basically, man, there's a few things that jump out. It's a 50-50 fight. That's number one. Okay, nobody's gonna walk over anybody if you're looking at this fight on paper. The one thing that Danny Garcia does that will probably fuck up his chances of winning, if we say that he has a disadvantage, would be the fact that he doesn't move enough. We have seen Keith Thurman fold. Not fold, I don't want to say fold, but we have seen guys that apply pressure to Keith Thurman. They have success. Luis Collazo had success before he was knocked out, going to the body, applying pressure. And, of course, Sean Porter had success. A lot of people thought he actually won that fight. Diego Chavez, when they fought, back when Diego Chavez was a nobody, he had success in the early rounds. I think he even hurt Thurman in the second round and had him kind of wobbling a little bit. He had success when he applied pressure. So the fact that Danny Garcia is kind of flat-footed and he stands and waits, that can be a problem because he's going to allow Keith Thurman to be on the outside of him, kind of circling him, doing whatever he wants to do, right, or getting the opportunity to do whatever he wants to do. With that said, Keith Thurman is not a masterclass boxer by any stretch of the imagination. Keith Thurman is a boxer-puncher. He's the definition of a boxer-puncher, okay? He's going to come inside of Danny Garcia's range numerous times in that fight. And when he's in range, that's when Danny Garcia can land those shots that he looks to land, preferably the Magic Johnson no-look left hook, to the top. And then he likes to land the same shot to the body. He actually throws a right hook to the body and then comes up top with the left hook. That's like his money two-punch combination that he always does. And he's always looking down when he does it. So he will be in range to get hit by that 1-2. You see what I'm saying? So that's what makes this fight intriguing. Danny Garcia can go to the body very well, and we both know that, or not both of us, but we all know that Keith Thurman's body is made out of Jell-O pudding. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So with that said, if he has to get in range in order to land his own shots, well, then he's giving Danny Garcia the opportunity to go to the fucking body. You see what I'm saying? And hurt Thurman. So that's why it's an intriguing fight. You got both sides where there's big flaws to where if their opponent actually exploits those flaws to the fullest with a well-executed game plan, they could win this fight. That's why it's a 50-50 fight. Now, my prediction, I think I like Danny Garcia's head. One thing about him is that a lot of people underestimate his IQ. Danny Garcia is a smart fighter. It's kind of weird because his skills are B-level, right? But the reason why he's an elite fighter is because he's smart. But a lot of people don't give him credit for that, right? But I think Keith Thurman is a little more dynamic in the ring, and he's also just about equally smart. We've seen Keith Thurman overcome adversity twice, actually 3 times, because he was in a little bit of adversity against Robert Guerrero, okay? Yeah. He overcame adversity getting hit to the body against Luis Collazo. He overcame the adversity of too much pressure, getting sacked by a motherfucking linebacker and Sean Porter, okay? He overcame adversity against Robert Guerrero. He overcame the early adversity against Diego Chavez. What adversity has Danny Garcia been in where he actually overcame it and we said, yeah, he won that fight? Every fight where Danny Garcia had adversity, We thought he lost. Lamont Peterson, Mauricio Herrera. Okay, the only one was probably Zab Judah, but Zab Judah didn't. But Zab didn't do shit until later. You see what I'm saying? Danny was whooping his ass the whole fight, and then later on, he actually started coming on with that left hook. But even in a lot of those rounds, Danny was still winning those rounds. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that Thurman is the more experienced guy as far as adversity, he knows, like, hey, if I get hurt, I need to do this. If this happens, I need to do this. Also, he's more dynamic offensively. Another thing, I think this is going to sound weird, but if we're looking at both of their defenses, Keith Thurman's defense is just slightly better because Danny Garcia is willing to get hit to give his shots. So that's what I'm saying, man. I got to go with Keith Thurman. I got him winning by 12-round split decision, but it's going to be a fire fight. I will not be surprised if both or one of these fighters gets dropped, but I got Keith by split decision.
Maybe I should take on this one as well, 2K, man. A fighter like Keith, like you said, he's multifaceted and dynamic, but he tends to to get away from his natural advantages, such as when he's moving around and using the whole ring, on his toes. And he tends to give that up to try and be a pocket fighter. What do you think the reason for that is? Because he's looked unstoppable when he's using, ring generalship and using the whole ring, launching into his shots. That's when he's ultimately been the one time that we know him as, with that KO power. But he seems to lose a whole lot when he tries to stand in the pocket and fight with fighters. So let me get your take on that, man.
Well, I see what you're saying, but this is the thing about Keith Thurman. Using the ring and staying on his toes, that's not him, to be honest with you. It's an advantage, and just like you said, he uses it where needed. But his real style is a boxer-puncher. He likes to stay at mid-range distance and hurt his opponent to try to knock him out. He's not an Erislandy Lara. He's not a Floyd Mayweather. He's not a Guillermo Rigondeaux. His style is not to use the ring. He's smart enough to know when to apply it and then when to abandon it and go back to what he normally is, which is a mid-range boxer-puncher. So in this fight, I think the difference will be the rounds that he wins by a wide margin will be him applying that ability to move around the ring, that boxing ability from the outside. The rounds that he wins close or maybe loses are the ones where he's actually standing in the pocket, allowing Danny Garcia to get off at mid-range distance. But Danny's going to have to move, dog. If he's that flat-footed planet fighter, he's going to lose his fight. And he's never moved before.
All right, let's pass it on to the rest of the panelists on this one. So let me get your take on it, prediction as well.
It is a very 50-50 fight. When people be saying, oh, this dude going to blast through that guy going to blast through that guy, we want to ask motherfuckers, do you watch boxing?
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about it, both these guys do things that the other guy can take advantage of. For example, Danny Garcia's Achilles heel is guys who can move. Now, Keith Thurman isn't the biggest mover in boxer, like you say, he's a boxer puncher, but he can move enough that can give Danny Garcia a problem. Danny likes for you to stand there because Danny is great at hitting you in the exchanges. If you watch all of his knockouts and stuff in this fight, he catches you in between the punches during the exchanges, and he likes you to be close up on him. Danny's not going to jab his way in. You know what I'm saying? Danny's not going to set something up, jabbing his way in. Danny's going to, move you around, try to trap you in their corner, go to your body, try to catch you in the exchanges with the Magic Johnson, Amir Khan career-ending no-look left hook. That's just what he's going to do. On the flip side, Keith Thurman, what Danny Garcia does is Danny Garcia also keeps his head upright. Danny Garcia does not tuck his chin down while throwing punches and in between throwing punches. Danny Garcia's head is right up there. Keith Thurman throws a left hook also as well. He likes to throw a hook. He hit Sean Porter with one. Keith Thurman is a big puncher. Keith Thurman likes to try to catch you at the end of his punches from mid-range. So both of these guys do things that the other guy can capitalize on. Now, I originally, when we first started, I picked Keith Thurman to win this fight. Danny Garcia does find a way to win, somebody said, well, he found a way to win. Yeah, when he was fighting the Lucas Matisse. Here lately, Danny Garcia's kind of been giving some gifts. Okay? He's kind of been giving some gifts. I thought he lost to Lamont Peterson. Robert DeGoes Guerrero gave him all he can handle. And at 147, he hasn't truly really been tested at 147 like he should, like he should have been. So I like Keith because regardless of all that is said about, who Keith hasn't fought, he hasn't knocked nobody out in a long time, like 2K said, we've seen Keith in some iffy situations, and he's came out of it. Now, I'm not taking nothing away from Danny. It's a 50-50 fight. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no in a 50-50 fight, when you're wrong in a 50-50 fight, man, I got no problems coming saying, yeah, okay, man, I'm a 50-50 fight, cool. I'm cool with being. I'm actually like, when it's a 50-50 fight and you pick somebody, I'm actually cool with being wrong. That's just how it is. But it's a 50-50 fight. I'm picking Keith only because Keith right now seems to be on the road. He seems to be determined. Now, I go back to something, even when Keith, before he's getting the spotlight he's getting now, Keith wanted to always be the dude at 147. He was calling out the Floyds and the Manny. I remember when he told Paulie, don't duck me, dude, in a conference. Keith has always wanted to be the dude, and he knows if he gets a unification, he beats Danny Garcia, that makes him the man, and then that can put him on the path to some of the fights that he wants. Like if he wants Pacquiao beats Khan, or if he wants the winner of Kell and Spence. So it puts Keith Thurman in the driver's seat. That's what he's always been hungry for.
All right, you got a prediction?
Yeah, Thurman. Keith Thurman. I got Keith Thurman by unanimous decision.
All right, let me pass it to your partner in crime.
I don't think he knocks out. Let me say one thing. The people that say Thurman's going to knock out Danny Garcia has a chin. I think people are underrating Danny Garcia's chin. He has a chin.
Excellent chin.
Yeah, he has a chin.
All right, Bernard, your prediction?
My prediction is Thurman. Now, I understand Garcia got a good chin, but I want to make another prediction. I'll take Thurman knocks Danny Garcia down for the first time.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah. What's that?
I can see that.
But I also want to say this, though. Thurman will have to be careful of Danny Garcia's counterpunching.
Yep.
If you notice, if he's become real aggressive, that's going to play right into Danny Garcia's hands. And if you notice when Robert the Ghost Guerrero was boxing Danny Garcia, he was doing well. Soon as he became aggressive and trying to start brawling, Garcia started counterpunching, and that left hook started to land, and it started playing into his benefit. So I do agree with y'all. This is a 50-50 fight, but my pick on this one is Thurman.
All right, and Big Cool to round it out.
Man, y'all already know who I'm picking. If y'all see my Facebook post, and I'm confident in my pick. It is a 50-50 fight, and I know both said if you're picking somebody that I don't know if you said knockout or dominate or whatever, you don't watch boxing. Look, it can still be a competitive fight and end in a knockout, and that's what's going to happen. I think that Danny going to catch Thurman with something to the body, and he's not going to let him off the hook. Porter did, Collazo did, but Danny won't. But I agree with both of y'all, 2K, all y'all, that Thurman has to be able to, he has to box, come in and out, use his foot movement. If he does that and Danny can't adjust and counter him and time him, then he'll win a unanimous decision. But if Danny can time him and counter him, I think that he's gonna set him up with some big left hook to the body that's gonna hurt Keith, and I think he's gonna hurt him bad enough where Keith not gonna be able to escape the pain and escape to the next round in this fight. So I got Danny stopping him in the 9th round via body shot and to unify the title. So I guess I'm the odd person out with Danny, riding with Danny in this fight. But he rides to the occasion. He did it against Matisse. He didn't do it against Peterson, but he's doing it against Thurman. Man, he does have a great chin, and I think he's gonna win and win the presidency.
All right, I'm actually probably the only other one on the panel that agrees with you. So I definitely got Danny winning. Like as mentioned, he finds a way to win. You know, he was counted out against a lot of people. Nobody expected him to beat Matisse. Nobody expected him to beat Khan. You know, so he knows how to pull it in the clutches. You know. Yeah, you know, I just think it's something as far as Thurman is going to stand in the pocket too much and to get into too many exchanges with Danny and get caught with something. You know, Danny is real wise with his punch selection. You know, that's one thing he is. Especially going with the body and all that too. And, you know, that being said, they said it's going to be a key focus in the fight, you know. I think he's more effective than the Collazo was, more effective than the Sean Porter was, you know, because Porter tends to crown himself, you know, coming in wildly the way he does. But, you know, that's just his pressing style, you know, so he tends to, you know, give away a lot of his punches by doing that. Whereas Danny, he's a whole lot more compact with his, better range. So I think he actually will touch up Keith a lot in this fight. You know, we've seen Gerald have some success against Keith and, you know, batter him a little bit in the later rounds. So, I mean, I look forward to be a systematic breakdown, and, you know, he's going to take it into those championship orders, and that's where we're going to see what it is, man. I'm not going with a knockout. I think he'll definitely get a decision, though. I'm going to go with a majority or split decision on this one for DSG.
One thing I want to say before you go to the next topic, man, is, you know, you just mentioned it, and I've seen it all around social media. People mentioning Lucas Matisse. Those are two totally different fighters. And I'm actually one of the ones that had Danny Garcia beating Lucas Matisse prior to that fight. I actually put money on Danny Garcia, and I took home a pretty hefty purse after that fight. I'm sitting in a bar, you know, watching it on the undercard of Canelo Mayweather, and I'm sitting there watching the fight, you know, unscathed and unshocked because I knew this was going to happen. Lucas Matisse, while he had a lot of different things that he could bring into the ring, he wasn't a very smart fighter. He's also a guy that couldn't adjust. Keith Thurman is a very smart fighter, and he can adjust. Two totally different fights. That's why I tell people not to really harp too much on the Lucas Matisse fight going into this one, because it's not going to be the same thing.
No, I know it won't be the same. I was just referencing, you know, the underdog. You know, he was labeled. Yeah. He didn't have a chance. That's what I was referencing. No, yeah. Other than power, even though I think Thurman is probably a bigger puncher than Matisse, it's just the adversity type. I think he rises to the occasion. You know, he didn't do it against Peterson, but I think that Thurman is the guy that's going to bring it out of him. And he knows he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's, because if he's getting hit by Thurman like he was against Herrera and Peterson, he could very well be knocked down, or it'll be a stoppage. But I don't see him standing up to that, no matter how great his chin is. You know, he didn't get hit that cleanly against Matisse other than a few times, but Thurman is a way better fighter than Matisse, and, you know.
A testament to how good his chin is, Matisse hit that motherfucker with a right hook and knocked his mouthpiece out of his mouth. I mean, and he didn't even budge.
Yeah,
so that tells you how good. Yeah, that tells you how good Danny Garcia's chin is, man. So
yeah, he can take a shot, but repeatedly from Thurman, I don't know if he'll be able to, you know, whether somebody stop it or his chin just falter. I don't know if he can just take clean shots like that, you know, all night. Which, you know, he's gonna get hit because, like I said, Keith is a way better fighter than Matisse, and he can create, you know, create openings himself. So I agree, his chin is great, but, you know, everybody has a great chin, but you keep getting hit repeatedly, you're eventually gonna fall.
Great.
All right, so that's going to bring us to our U.O.E.N.O segment of the evening before we get up out on this day. 1984, surprising one. Rocky Lockridge knocked out Roger Mayweather in one of 2K's favorite towns, Beaumont, Texas. in round number 1 to win the WBA Super Featherweight title. So
that was
big
his
up
first loss too, wasn't it? Wasn't that his first loss? Yep.
Right.
That's one of those.
Came in there overconfident and got clocked round 1.
That's one of them Scott Canopy specials, ain't it?
Oh yeah, definitely a Scott. Definitely had to put this one up out, man, out of the bank. But yeah, so big up to both of those cats, man. Balance of health issues and all that. But so we want to give our prayers and our thoughts out to them. But both great champions. You know what I'm saying? With that said, the final blow is on 2K this week. He's managed to duck and dodge it the past couple of weeks. So yeah, it's on you, man.
You need that Ether beat.
He tripping with that ducking and dodging shit. That's big cool over there, boy.
Hey,
hell
no.
You need that Ether beat. Let me know if you need that Ether beat.
Nah, it ain't gonna be that, man. It's gonna be short. I'm actually gonna praise boxing this year, man. We're 2 months in, man, and we got some excellent fights on the docket, and we've had some excellent fights that have passed. One thing I want to mention is that a lot of fights that we're seeing this year is we're seeing prospects get in the ring with very good fighters. Sammy Vasquez and Louis Collazo. We just had Jarrett Hurd and Tony Harrison. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing some of the prospects out there actually take good fights, whereas years prior, a lot of the prospects were fighting D-level fighters all the way up until, they actually get ranked number one and get their title shot. They're actually going through the motions the way they should be so far as the year has played out. That's one thing I want to mention. But most importantly, man, I think Showtime, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, or at least an affiliate of TMT, and other entities in the sport have watched my channel. They've watched, my channel, which is the Gods of Boxing Talk, Bo and Bernard's channel, which is Truth and Facts About Boxing, and they've listened to this podcast, as we have all, and other sources out there, we've all tried to push the concept of bringing women's boxing to the spotlight. And in just 2 months of this year, we've got one up-and-coming promotional company in TMT signing a female fighter and promoting more female boxing. We've got Roy Jones Jr. signing a female fighter and promoting women's boxing. And then you've got a major network who's actually allowing a woman to headline a major card on the network, being the first woman to do so in Clarissa Shields. Also, in watching the Cecilia Braekhus versus Klara Svensson fight, Michael Buffer was announcing the fucking fight.
Yep.
So we're starting to see, all of a sudden, better promotion of women's boxing in just 2 months in. And I had did a final blow on this a few episodes back, and I said that in 2017 I want to see this problem rectified. And I have to say that I'm satisfied as to what I'm seeing thus far, and I hope, boxing and all the entities within boxing can continue doing what they're doing. So big up to everybody who is doing their due diligence, supporting these women out there, and big ups to boxing as a whole. And the start of 2017, man, we're on a good track for success.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's a big one. Definitely big up on that final blow. And like I said earlier, I did tweet Stephen Espinoza earlier. It did get some good feedback as far as bringing Cecilia Braekhus to Showtime Sports, bringing Amanda Serrano to Showtime Sports. Like, we need to see these chicks televised, you know what I'm saying, more often, man. I shouldn't have said chicks either. Sorry about these women. Yeah.
You better learn that, Twan. Might be on your hands.
Oh, my goodness.
I just killed a completely positive message with that. Oh, shit. My bad, y'all. But, yeah, for my co-host, man, TK, the guy from the Gods of Boxing Talk, Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk, Bo and Bernard of the Truth and Facts About Boxing, and I am Twine B. Liberty of HoopJab.com and Rocky Mountain Boxing. To the next episode, man. Thank you for tuning in, man. Peace.
Peace.